I'm not fancy or anything like that. Hello, everybody in YouTube land.
Hello, everybody. Hello, carry on. Mon. Oh,
Look
Ned.
at everybody
Who can
who's
forget Ned?
here.
Ned is
No, I
a
didn't know
AI
that.
goddess.
I love that. I didn't know that was her nickname until somebody explained how it happened to me. That somebody mistyped.
Yeah, it was
Thanks for
Tara
being here,
smiling.
folks. Let's see. Hey, Jason P. Mod extraordinaire, Jason P. Shannon Smith is here. Hey, sweet tea. Shenanigans. Oh, you've been here since 10:30. I'm late, I feel like. Charlie
Mo
Mullins
Love.
is here. Or at least was here at some point. I don't know if they're back. Mon.
I
And
think Sweet Tea
BenBaconBits was here.
might be working. She's
Might be at
typically
work. Okay.
Yeah, she typically listens.
Might be listening in. That's cool. We can be ridiculous and hopefully keep her company at work being ridiculous. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, that's basically what I try to do too.
Hey, Mo
Can't think of
Love.
a better name.
Oh, did somebody else just pop in? I went way back in the chat. Do.
Oh, I can make the screen
Oh, cool.
bigger. Oh, nice.
Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah, this is on StreamYard. Do you usually use Restream, Ben?
I do, but I'm not married to it. But yeah, I just use it just because I was used to it already. I'm not.
Yeah.
The only thing I like about it is it's dark mode. It's a little darker.
Oh,
you have dark
it does
around
have that.
Yeah, that's about it. Everything else. Yeah, I'm fairly agnostic.
Agnostic to streaming platforms. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, hi, everybody out there. I don't think I need to introduce him, but I have a special guest today. Our friend BenBaconBits Turner is here. We're just doing a low-key hangout today. I was talking about going live, and it looked like he was kicking around the idea, and I was like, well, why don't we just both go live? We'll just do that. That'll be fun. Oh, Crafty says hello. Hello back to Crafty. Oh, she's banned from typing. Oh, okay.
Oh,
no typing if that's the best decision, Crafty. But we love that you're saying hello. I hope you're doing okay. Hey, Mr. Brad Boy, what's up? I was just, before we went live, carry on. I was just asking Ben about his lighting. The people want to know, Ben. Because my lighting is just flat.
I have a little. There's like a little. I do this. Let's do it this way. This is a little itty bitty
light.
Disco. Do. I'll just use this.
Awesome.
Project up against the screen for
having
light.
A rave over there.
Yeah, I just do that just for light and color. Otherwise, it looks, like I'm in a dungeon. But the problem I've been running into is it throws off my white balance. I was explaining to Kristen, and then I use a little LED light, and I use these other funky. Oops, that just turned it off. Oh, how do you do this?
I like I think my spouse would appreciate this because he works for a theatrical lighting equipment company. Like they rent out theatrical lighting equipment. He was a theater teacher for 14 years and now he does that. And he brought home a bunch of stuff to test recently. And so he's got like all these big giant like stage lights that are sitting like in our regular house sized like room, like shining them at the wall, like doing all these little tricks with them and stuff.
Yeah,
they're LEDs, so they don't get hot, so that's good.
Yeah, and they use really low power, so yeah, you can get lights like this where you just charge them and you can pick them up and put them wherever you want. Of course, this will also. Although, wow, it's weird. You can't tell the color except.
You can tell except when you put your hand close to it, it probably looks white in comparison to the spotlight. I'm guessing.
Yeah, and it's probably just the white balance on the camera.
We love you too, Mo Love. I hope you feel better soon, Mo Love. Oh, and awakened is Ned using phone in the kitchen. Hey, be careful in the kitchen. I once accidentally cut my thumb really badly chopping peppers while watching something on my phone.
Nice.
What is happening over there? I look at the chat. What's Ben doing? Did you just blow something out of your nose?
I'm getting better at it.
Did that really just happen?
It's hard. it's hard to develop that kind of skill. Well, yeah, you got to have a goal. I mean, jeez.
You're right. We all need goals. Otherwise, we stagnate. We all need to work on our self-development, right?
Matrix Rabbit. He did a really cool show with showing his resin stuff, and it was so interesting to watch.
I watched the replay of that earlier today.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Hey, Mary. Hey, Bliss to Crochet.
There's Sweet Teas. Yeah, so she's.
Oh, you know what's ridiculous? I was so like focused on, oh, I have a friend on the screen with me. I literally forgot that I could put chats up.
Oh, nice.
I forgot I could do that. So I wasn't ignoring you guys. I just literally forgot I could do this because that's what happens. Hey, Mon. Hey, big sis.
I am horrible at doing when I'm looking at the screen. My brain doesn't work like that. So it's one of those things where if people are asking questions, I'm going to have them put Q to where it will stand out because
the going back and forth thing. Yeah.
My brain does not.
You've seen me on a typical stream I do is I usually have no topic. Usually if somebody shows up, I just like say hi to everybody, put everything up on the screen, and sometimes I get 10 minutes behind in the chat and hilarity ensues. What? No, Mon. This can't be. It's because his nickname makes us think of bacon and then we want to eat bacon. Perhaps.
Oh, she's still mad about the whole Ron Jeremy thing, I think.
that was actually what I was referring to. When the chat got like 10 minutes behind and I didn't realize she had Googled it. No, don't do it.
I didn't realize it either. I just kind of just watching you and I just kind of like, uh-oh. Oops.
Yeah, people that were, I got like 10 minutes behind. Yeah. Do not Google that man's name unless you are prepared for the adultness of what you find. This is awesome. Holy crap. Really, Jason? Is it okay that I put this on the chat, Jason? Because I'm really excited for you. After 30 years, finally decided to give therapy counseling another try. Yes! Wow. I'm so excited. I have an appointment next month and I'll let y'all know how it goes. Please do.
Interesting.
I'm so excited. That's badass, Jason. I'm so happy. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so amazing cool. the difference a good counselor versus a bad one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like math teachers.
Have you ever had a really bad counselor before, Ben? I have. Honestly, I have before I became one.
Yeah, I did have one. He wanted to make
I've had really good ones too, but I had a bad one too.
Yeah, I've had one bad one and I've had one stupendous one, and then, like a bell curve, most of them are in the middle somewhere. I mean, they're all all the ones that I've had lately have all been pretty good. It's one real bad one.
The one that I had, the very first one I ever had was my bad one. It was the one I had when I was 13 years old. And here are things to look out for. Jason, this is how you know if you've got a bad one and you need to go to someone else. So she barely looked at me when I was talking to her. There was one session where she ate her entire lunch, like just at her desk while I was in there talking. She would like ask a random personal question and she was just like eating her whole lunch in front of me. That's not professional. Your therapist should be focusing on you, dang it. Okay. Like maybe if you bring in your own food and you're eating and they sneak a piece of a granola bar, that's different. But she would just habitually be doing something else, not focused on her client. That's a bad sign.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that one, ooh.
That was my very first counselor. Yeah, it's amazing I ever tried it again. I was 15. I had a friend who, she had her own mental health stuff, and she was like, "Oh, well, I see this lady and she's really nice." And I was like, she's like, "Maybe you should try it again." I was like, okay, I guess I will. And so I gave her name to my mom, and my mom just wanted me to not be a freaky teenager anymore. So she took me, and she was really great. The second counselor was really, really great. She was like kind and empathic, but also like irreverent, which is I like. Like she would be a little bit of blunt with me, but like lovingly blunt, kindly.
Yeah, and
I don't
that's
know where Warren is. Carry on. Sorry, Ben. What were you saying?
yeah, and that's kind of that's kind of instructor or counselor I need. Somebody's not afraid to get blunt because otherwise, you know,
Yeah, you can be blunt and like straightforward without being
yeah.
mean, right? Like there's a balance. You're a math teacher too, sweet tea?
Oh
How
my
did I
God.
not know this? How did I not know this? I knew Warren was a math teacher who hops in here. I saw Warren in but it is no longer needing a meeting. It is Live Long and Prosper now.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Warren in there the other day. I think he just moved, so he's probably super busy. Oh my gosh, no, Matrix Rabbit. Really? This is terrible. That's
Wow.
traumatic.
Oh my
4
gosh.
months? Holy
Jeez.
moly. I'm so sorry. That sounds incredibly traumatic. Like, like, you can't even do that anymore.
Mm,
So occasionally, like, somebody is like an immediate danger to themselves or other people, and occasionally you do have to refer them to inpatient, but they don't nobody keeps them for 4 months. That's like nowadays, like inpatient is typically
mm,
like to stabilize a crisis, It's to get you to where like
sure.
you're gonna be safe to be in your bedroom alone. And then after
Mm-hmm.
that, you're supposed to follow up with outpatient care. So I'm sorry, Matrix Rabbit. I know that they used to do that a lot more though. That's traumatic though. Hey, look, it's Tuber Chat. If y'all have not met Tuber Chat is a great resource if you're like a small YouTube content creator. They have a lot of awesome like tips and tricks there for how to make connections with other small YouTubers and
I never
like
heard of that.
you have it? Okay, so Mary from Blessed to Crochet shared Tuber Chat with me. Um, I have met a lot of cool content creators that way, actually, like other small content creators who now
Mm.
like will pop up in my chats and will pop up in theirs. And this is our friend that runs Tuber Chat. So it's a pretty cool
Oh, wow.
channel. And he knows a lot about just like doing the YouTube thing in general. So it's a great
Mm,
resource for sure.
interesting. Okay, so it's not a bot. It's a
Mm-mm,
person.
no, that's a human.
Wow.
That's a
Okay.
human.
I thought it was just throwing out random stuff at you. Okay.
No, that's a person. That's the person that runs the Tuber Chat channel.
Wow.
Connect and
Interesting.
grow.
Man. Huh. That's
Yeah,
neat.
so there's cool stuff. We were talking about so you have the tech stuff down. I don't know the tech things. My background is like it's just my messy office. I do need to get this under control though, because this is also where I do telehealth appointments on Fridays. So it's usually a little bit neater. It's a little out of control this weekend because of craziness.
There was one time I had Mark Bowden. I was doing a Zoom call with him, and he just sat there and he was doing this number. What the hell's he? I was like, what
Yeah.
is his camera messed up? I mean, or is his screen size small? He was reading all the books that were behind me. He's like, oh, hey, there's my
Really?
book. Like, oh my
Oh, he
God.
saw his own book back there. Well, that's cool. I would be jazzed if I wrote a book and I saw my book like behind somebody who I was streaming with. I haven't written a book
Mm.
unless you count. I did a young writers program when I was like 12, and we each wrote a children's book, and it was in the local library, but
Mm.
that it wasn't formally published. Ben
Yeah.
Turner is also known as Ben BaconBits. I think most of our folks here, like we all know each other. But if you haven't met Ben, Ben is awesome. Ben is super fun. He has his own channel called that's just his name,
Yeah.
but he has his own show that he does called The Meeting Pit, and he had me hang out with him a couple weeks ago. So it's really fun.
Oh yeah, that was a good panel. That really was.
Yeah, that was fun. Hey, oh Sophia, I don't think I said so. Hi to Sophia. Hi, mocked Mirdakako. I always like try to challenge myself to pronounce her name. I probably don't do super well, but I like to try.
I'm impressed with AA Ron. I've been trying to watch it enough and try to repeat it. And 5 minutes later, I forget
I haven't been catching as much YouTube this past week. I've been more replay crew on a lot of things.
it.
They actually filled my schedule at work. which is a good thing. That's an awesome. Oh, I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing. I wish nobody needed me, but that would be nice for people. What? You took 2 algebra classes in one day? That sounds like torture to me. In high school, they had me in algebra 1 or 2 first period and algebra 3, 4 second period. What? That sounds so I am not a math person. I've been open about this. It's been a subject of discussion here before that I've always struggled a lot with math. That like as a kid, one of my problems was I would like transpose the numbers whenever I wrote them down. And I have a hard time keeping track of them too on paper. Like I kind of figured out I have some kind of math dyslexia. Like it's actually called a
Wow.
thing. It's called dyscalculia. It's a thing. I was never formally diagnosed, but like all those symptoms are things I have always done. So I can do it when I have to. I use calculators and I would use graph paper to line up my numbers and stuff like that.
Wow.
In some way, yes and no. Matrix Rabbit. So I was in like gifted talented English, but I failed and had to retake algebra. So I was unevenly uneven. How about you, Ben? What was math like for you
I
as a
was
kid?
I was actually a really good English. I could spell. I was
Yeah.
really good at English, really good at history, sucked at math, but yeah, that was pretty much the same for me as was you. A. Ron is being interviewed tomorrow.
Really?
Being
Like around
interviewed
8
by
AM
HD.
Sunday. Really? That's interesting.
I
I
tried to
wonder
get him on
what
my channel, but he was too busy.
Aaron or HD Tutor?
A. Ron.
I would try I would be super interested to interview HD Tutor, but, I feel like I need to watch more of his content first, you know? Like, before I would wanna interview anyone, I would wanna, like if they have a lot of content out there, I like to watch as much of their content as I can, because then I'm like, "Okay, what's something nobody's asked them before?" Or what's something that like, if it's something I can find an answer to on their channel, like, okay, then I don't know if I need to ask it, but HD Tutor, you guys, does a channel on narcissism, and the deal is he is a self-aware narcissist. Um, he's anonymous, so I guess technically you cannot verify that, but why would somebody make that up, right? So if you're interested in that subject matter, it's very interesting. It's very interesting, but it's not touchy-feely at all. Like, just be aware. It's very like blunt. It doesn't mince words about like narcissists caring about anyone's feelings or anything like that. So just be aware of that.
Thank you, Bless to Crochet. I appreciate it. I was just happy. Aaron. Aaron. I keep calling him Aaron.
I do too. Like I forget his name is Aaron.
I was just happy that he let me use I asked him if I could use his videos, and he's like, "Yeah, sure."
Oh yeah, because you have his video in your intro.
Yeah, I have.
Where he does the
I
little.
have 2 clips of his that I stole from him.
That's really cool. Did you just email him and he was like, "Yeah, sure," or did
Yeah,
you put it up in the chat?
yeah, and I asked him if I could use a couple of clips of his, and he said, "Yeah, feel free." Now I asked
Oh,
him,
that
"Hey,
would
would
be
you like to
cool.
come on my show?" And he's like, "Nah, I don't have time." Well, I'm not surprised.
I haven't seen him on other people's shows very much, but I also haven't caught as much of him lately.
Well, he's also super big, so I mean, I'd
Yeah.
be kind of surprised anyway. But um, he's got his business that he's doing, real estate or
Oh,
something or
yeah.
another. He's doing that. He's got the whole thing with what's her name? I think I'm not sure. I may be spreading gossip, but I thought him and Jenna were a couple, but
They
maybe
seem
they're
to
not.
be. They're in a lot of content together. They seem to
No,
be
they're not.
coupley,
They're not
but I
really
don't
doing.
know. I don't know.
They're doing a little bit, but it's just the way she pops up. I bet they're.
I
But
think
who
that
knows?
might be official. I don't know that I don't think that's gossip. I think that might be official.
Mm,
I think. I don't know. I don't know. I don't wanna spread gossip if it's gossip.
yeah, yeah.
That would be a good idea.
I know he
Mary.
does have a girlfriend. He's talked about that. So
Okay, that's probably her then. I'm guessing.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
But yeah, he's super
So yeah.
busy. And
Is that, are you referring Mocked, are you referring to HD Tutor or AA Ron? They're fascinating in different ways. Yeah, HD Tutor is super fascinating. Sometimes in a like so I have had like relationships in the past that, you know, where narcissism was an issue, was involved. But I kind of thought about it later. And so sometimes like hearing it, you know, just like straight like that, like, we don't really care about your feelings, we just want
yeah,
control. We don't really care about like, we don't really love, we just, you know, it's
yeah,
very blunt. And sometimes it's like I could see where sometimes like if you're just coming out of something like that, it could be almost a little bit triggering in a way,
sure.
you know? But I've kind of found it helpful because I tend to be one of those people that gives everybody 6 million chances
Yeah,
more than I should. So it's kind of helpful for me to have something like that in the background.
yeah,
Sweet
not
tea says. Sorry, what were
yeah.
you saying?
At first, I was kind of wishing they showed him on the screen. Then I was actually really happy they didn't, because I think he would be very triggering to watch. The whole
Oh
flat
yeah.
forehead, no wrinkles. The maybe he has the psychopathic stare, which I did a show on, or you know,
That's right. We were chatting about the whole body language thing too. Uh, so you guys, if you didn't catch it, Ben interviewed Scott Rouse, who's a body language expert on his channel. He's been on like the behavior panel and stuff like that. And I watched that on Ben's channel, and then I went down the rabbit hole with Scott Rouse's channel, and then I started watching other body language stuff, and some of it made sense, and other stuff was like, oh, I never noticed that before.
mm,
And the most recent thing I listened to, have you heard anyone mention that the thing people do with their lip when they're feeling empathy, or their chin turns into a raisin?
oh yeah, chin boss.
Where it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
I can't really replicate it exactly.
I can't.
Like,
I can do
like
the
I guess think
I
of
can
kittens
do the
being sad.
worry, but
Like
mhm,
apparently this is something people do when they like feel genuine empathy. This little chin thing or this the lip, like, oh, I feel so bad for you kind of thing. And like, and one of the things that the lady I saw like posited is that psychopaths never do that. Like
mhm,
they never do it. And so now
mhm.
I'm gonna watch everybody chin thing.
Well, it's funny. The eyes play into a lot of things, but yeah, there's multiple expressions like a surprise. Fake surprise is like,
Oh
and you
yeah,
see
yeah.
you see it on so many ghost videos. And what happens with real surprises, your eyes go wide open because your brain's trying to take in as much information as possible.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
face will elongate. It's really not photogenic, or it's not flattering. But that's how
Yeah.
you tell. But you can always tell fake surprise. You know,
I
and you
tried to fake
see,
it just now, but it was difficult.
and yeah, and you see it in paranormal videos, especially. It's like, ha ha ha, ha, yeah, I caught you.
Oh, the
Um,
ones that are supposed to be genuine. Like
yeah,
you can see you've been able to notice when it's like phony, when
yeah.
it's
Now,
fake.
of course, there's a lot of their statement too that doesn't, like, oh, like you something unexpected happens, like, oh shit, and they're doing that number, and then they see a full body apparition. Oh, Bob, look at that.
And their
Ooh,
face isn't as
scary.
wide.
Ah,
Like, okay, they're not nearly as freaked out as they should be.
yeah.
Did you like stuff like that? Did you ever like stuff like that, Ben? Like haunted houses or jump scares or stuff like that?
I loved, well, I mean, I love paranormal. I
Yeah.
really got into it, and then I started learning body language. Like, oh my gosh, so much of it's fake. I thought
Oh, and then
I
it
was
bummed
one of
you
these.
out.
I was like, oh man, yeah, oh yeah, some of it's fake. Like 25% of it's fake, and I'm like, oh crap. I think probably
Oh,
90%, maybe more. Um, but there's a lot of there's some videos of people who they do it all, and most of the videos they're just they'll publish it, but it's like they got something that might maybe be a noise, but it's like they're also saying at the same time it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, so they're kind of debunking
yeah.
themselves. It's like, oh, poo. I kind of like the fantasy a little more.
Did you
Not
like watching
fantasy.
it and being scared by it? Like, did you like getting involved in it and like getting scared with them?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that was always
sympathetically
fun.
scared? Yeah.
I s- I still like what was the one? There's like a group of kids. Oh, Team Fear or Project Fear. I still
Mhm.
like them because I like them as people. But I don't know. You know,
When you first mentioned group of kids, I just thought Blair Witch Project, but that's ancient now.
I
It shows you how
also
well
like
I've kept up.
Rob Lowe did it with his kids, and it wasn't about what they found. They just kind of did all this stuff, and
Yeah.
it was really a neat thing. Where it was mainly a story about him, bonding with his kids, and that was the interesting
Aw.
part. Just like all the other stuff was, just kind of incidental. But it's like,
Aw, that's
it's
kinda nice. And it just happened to be around paranormal stuff.
yeah, and
Math would be
the Low Files, I think, is what it's called.
the Lowe Files? That's the one with oh, that
LOWE.
makes sense because he's Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
He was in so one of my favorite books as a kid was The Outsiders, and they, of
Mm,
course, made a film of that, which featured Patrick Swayze, a very young Rob Lowe, and a
wow.
very young Tom Cruise before he had his teeth fixed. So that's a treat if you're ever interested in that. And, Ralph Macchio, I think? The Karate Kid dude? I think before he
Oh
did that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was in it too.
I never did like
Oh,
Ralph
okay,
Macchio.
it's not a rumor. Mo Mocked
Okay.
verified. And Mocked doesn't make things up. Mocked doesn't gossip. "Hey, Squirrel Girl is here. Hi, Squirrel Girl. We got some friends." Oh, that makes sense. Probably I'm guessing it'll be like the angle of, what's the
Hmm.
guy that runs the Church of Scientology?
Um,
David what's his
David
face?
Miscavige.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, on whether he is a narcissist of some variety.
I would, you know,
I'd be surprised if he wasn't, actually.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, yeah.
Cosmic? Cosmic Christie is here. That's the fun thing about going on at, like, 11 o'clock at night is all the people from Australia get to pop in because it's, like, afternoon there.
Sure. Yeah, there was one of the people I worked with at ABR with, pops in mind
That's
sometimes.
right, you were telling I wanted to know more about your past job. ABR stands for Advanced Behavioral Research, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, now it's
Okay, what did you
called
got yeah.
NCI University, and I
What does
forget what
NCI
the name's
stand for?
for.
So
I don't know.
what did they do there? Did they do research projects, or was it like what kind of research was it? I'm
Oh, it
intrigued.
it was it
I'm
was more
nosy.
of a site on neuroscience. Well, it was kind of a, teaching platform on neuroscience. It had a
Okay.
lot of stuff on, like, how to influence. Uh, my big thing, of course, was, oh my gosh, confidence reboot. How to build confidence, and a lot of that relied upon, a lot of the whiz bang relied upon hypnosis, but it's
Really?
hypnosis where there's no subliminal. You could sit there and listen to the whole entire thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, there's nothing in here. It's going to program you because a lot of people think, oh, hypnosis that you, oh, look into my eyes. Oh, you don't remember. You're instantly
You like to
programmed. Like,
watch
no,
back and forth? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you can program people, but it takes multiple visits, and you have to build trust, and the person has to be out. But yeah, any hypnosis, I mean, it's not like you put it on, you're instantly, you know. No, you can stay awake for it and just listen to it. Okay.
But it
Um,
helps you improve your confidence levels? Is that what it's meant to do?
yeah, it's just basically, it's more like a guided meditation. It's just it would be a lot like a guided meditation, just with a lot of emphasis at the front end on relaxing. Just
Yeah.
relaxing your body, and it's exactly the same as that. But yeah, it's just got a heavy amount of relaxing, a little bit of calm music in the background, and then you start using visual. He has in his thing, he has you build a little control room in your brain, and you're kind of going down there, and you go to a computer and you're running an AI to go through and purge all your limiting beliefs, and you do it over and over and over again. I mean,
Okay.
that's not meant to be a one-time thing, but yeah,
That's
you do that.
interesting.
It is. What I found fascinating is he puts gaps in there to where you can do other things. So some people go in and they it was her. It was the gal from Australia. She went in with hers, and she just voluntarily, during the he gives you he gives you time after it. We're just music in the background. Now you can, if you want to, you can come out, or you can go stay in your office and things. And she would go and envision herself working out, and she started noticing physical results, which is just like,
That's cool.
that is, I would love to do a study on that, but yeah.
I think there have been a couple where
Mm,
like athletes that used visualization achieved better results than those
mm,
that just did a workout alone. I think there has been. I couldn't cite
mm.
you specifics, but that's wild. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I was amazed that some people they program theirs to, because he has you run like a program for confidence, and where you visualize, okay, you're at this computer, your confidence is on a bar, you raise it up, and
Yeah.
then it talks about, you're
Oh,
gonna see other
like the
settings.
power bar in Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, kind of like that. But I mean, of course, you have, it's all up to you what your room looks like, what the computer looks like, and all that. But yeah, there's been other people who've gone in and done other things like trying to recall um their body temperature, something else, losing
Oh.
weight. They're envisioning their metabolism running faster.
I've
The
heard of
rate at
people
which your
using
body.
hypnosis to help with weight loss. Like, there are guided meditations, I think on YouTube that are like, what do they call it? They call it like one of them I saw was called something like bariatric surgery hypnosis. Like, you haven't had bariatric surgery, but the idea is to like make yourself think you have, so that
Wow.
you think your stomach is too small for food, which the human mind can do amazing things, but like
Hmm.
I don't think that I would be able to convince myself of that. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, "No, I know I can fit more french fries in my stomach." Like, you can't convince me. Like,
But
uh,
yeah, and there's other stuff in it. Or he's teaching different techniques. Like the one that still made no sense to me, but I'll be damned, it worked.
yeah.
Where you print out on sheets of paper, and he even gives you some backgrounds where you have these people celebrating, and balloons, and all these happy
Hmm.
people smiling, and you put your limiting beliefs right over it, and it says something like, I'm not good enough, and you have all these people in the background, doing that number. And what happens is you look at it and you realize how stupid it is. That creates emotion,
By,
which
like,
then
putting it
speaks to
on a
your me.
balloon, like, visualizing it on a balloon?
Or you have it on paper, and you can just
Okay.
tape it on the wall. I also use it on the back. I had my rotating background on my computer, where it was
Mhm.
constantly just flashing at me. And the thing I was a little afraid of was that I would be programming my brain. You are, your brother's better than you, things like that.
Yeah.
I thought it might be programming, but what the heck, I'll go ahead and give it a try, because what do I have to lose? And I'll be damned, this freaking thing worked. And because he
Huh.
said that basically the part of your brain that you're speaking to doesn't speak English. Going to
Huh.
the lizard part of your brain, it speaks mainly in emojis, the way he describes it. It doesn't really understand language.
I like that way to put it.
So yeah, he says that what you do is, it doesn't do any good if you just see it, but if you see it and you express disgust, which if you look at it long enough, you're like, that is so dumb. And that's
So the
exactly what
idea
was.
so the technique, let me make sure I get it right. The technique is to, like, put your limiting beliefs, like, write them down, like, on paper or something, like, put them where you can see them,
Yeah.
like, and then to try to look at them and pair it with disgust of some kind? Like,
Yeah,
look at them and
and
go,
and
"Oh, that's ridiculous."
yeah, and that's basically it. Like, one of them I had, "It's all my fault." I didn't use a picture celebration, I used a nuclear explosion, because, the thought behind that is obviously I'm not responsible for this. And that was a good one. Because you look at it long enough and you just start getting sick of it, especially if it's in your face
Okay.
all the time. It's like, you know
Okay.
what, you actually start feeling, this disgust is a good term. Just saying to yourself, that is, you don't have to consciously say that's stupid, but you just kind of look at it like that. And what's supposed to
Mhm.
happen is that then you're using that emotion tied with what you're seeing to then speak to that lizard part of your brain that only speaks emojis. This is dumb. So that way, when your
Okay.
brain sees that or visualizes you're not good enough, it instantly says this is stupid and throws it out.
Instead
Eh,
of you thinking in your head, "Oh, that's credible. I believe that about
Yeah,
myself." Your next automatic thought is, "Oh, that's ridiculous. Like, toss that one
yeah.
out." That's interesting.
It
That's really
really,
interesting.
I didn't expect it to work.
I
I
miss
thought,
Dragon.
but yeah, it was just fascinating stuff like that. There's
7th?
one part where he does entrainment where you're
Hey,
watching
Warren.
people that have confidence, composure. Andy Griffith. I had no
Andy
idea.
Griffith.
I can't stand Andy Griffith, but he would show clips of him without any audio, or sometimes they had no audio, and you just watch it over and over again. What you start to pick up on is the fact that when they act, they have complete confidence.
Yeah.
They're not in
They're not doing
collapse.
like this.
They're not posturing like Barney Fife. Barney Fife would be a good example of collapse and posturing. He was doing both. But
Wait, how do you view it collapsed and postured? I'm confused. How does that
well,
even
at times he would act all big and tough and
Whoa.
yeah, and, it's all an act type of thing. Of course, they're actors too, but
Right.
I'm surprised they kind of nailed that part. Um,
This
but
is what my husband and I call adult elbows. I'm an adult.
there's one scene of the gal who was in Hunger Games, whatever her name was, before she did Hunger
Oh,
Games, which
Jennifer Lawrence.
yes,
I
there's
love
one
her.
there was one movie where she's like selling mops or something like that, because you don't see
I
the
haven't
whole
seen that
movie.
one.
There's one clip of it where she's confronting somebody about he's defrauding her, but she does it with such confidence that you start watching, you start picking that up. It's like, holy
Hmm.
crap. Like, so I guess the short of it is you can program yourself just by watching something over and over again. And
Oh.
it also works the other way where you can also train yourself out of something by, seeing something as long as your brain says that's dumb, that.
So does that mean I should stop listening to like really dark music? Like, am I programming myself to like be dark?
I don't um but yeah, he had classes like that, classes in the It Factor, which is charisma, how to how
Okay.
to how to do that, and of course there's tons of, you know, um interrogation and things like that. Most of it's for that, but I stuck more to the self-improvement side.
Yeah.
Uh
The
I didn't
interrogation stuff is really interesting to me because it kind of like I went to school for counseling, right? And that's interviewing in a way,
Mhm.
but I mean it is interviewing, cuz but the goal is different, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm not trying to elicit any information from somebody that they don't want to give me, right? So
Sure.
that's a totally different thing. Like the whole goal is to like make them feel comfortable and keep
Yeah,
them feeling comfortable. And there are times where you start to challenge a person, but you want them to feel comfortable and safe
yeah,
with you challenging them.
sure.
And that's it. So it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like interrogation is almost like a darker side of that, like because you are trying to elicit information that maybe somebody doesn't want to give you. That's different, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I tended to learn it with the intent of trying to pick up on signs, and that's ultimately what you're doing. You pick up signs of stress anyway. It's just that you're loading them with stress in one situation, and then the other you're just looking for signs of stress. But lying, that's all you're spotting is stress. You're putting them under a stress load, and then you're feeding them stuff and seeing what they do. And the thought is that when you lie, you're actually breaking a social contract that creates
Mm.
stress. You have to deconflict it because you don't know what they're going to do with it. You don't know what evidence they have and things like that. That creates a load, and that causes people to act strange, or weird behavior
So
comes out.
what about psychopaths who don't feel stressed out when they lie? Like,
Um,
what do you do with them?
um, I think with them, you start feeding their ego, and they'll eventually
Ooh, that's
screw up.
clever.
You can
Oh,
start to feed their vanity. You can try to create jealousy. You can do things like that, and feed vanity, jealousy. You start feeding it, and then they start feeling confident, and they'll leak information. And then, but
I
you
bet
have
the
to keep
feeding
track of
vanity
it.
one is easier because that's pretty clear cut, right?
Yeah,
Like, but the using jealousy thing, that's probably trickier because if like you go too far with it, they probably just get pissed off and don't talk to you anymore, right?
yeah,
I'm
and
guessing.
that
I don't know.
yeah. I mean, well, a lot of them, if you feed them enough, a lot of them they'll keep going because they think we're so intelligent. You know, I'm going to show this is how much better than you I am, and they'll just keep going. Yeah, and that's what Scott Rouse. One thing that was one of the things
Huh,
I'm trying to remember if he was on screen or not. So I talked to him about it, but we
yeah,
may have been off screen when I was
like that
talking to
was
him about
green
that.
room.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesse Miller, welcome in. We got people hanging out. Oh, that sounds like a fun date, Squirrel Girl. Have a good night. Date with a pillow. Love that. I love that.
Jesse
I didn't think
Miller.
about this, Mock. The techniques, I guess, of interviewing, right? Mock, the techniques can be pretty much the same independently from the intention. That's a good point. We were talking about mirroring recently, right,
Mm.
Ben? Like, like kind
Oh
of
yeah,
like doing the same
yeah.
like
Same
posture
pose.
and like, yeah, like they cross their legs, you cross your legs, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
You have
Um,
to do it
I
slowly, or else you'll get caught. But yeah.
I have realized now that I do that unconsciously. Like I
Mhm.
never realized I was doing it. It's just something I did. Um, I don't know where I picked that up or how long I've been doing it, but I didn't
Mhm.
realize I did it on purpose. Like it wasn't on purpose exactly. Like was just something I did, but um that actually comes up as like, oh, that's one way people feel more comfortable with you and they're more
Mhm.
willing to talk about,
Yeah.
what's going on with them or their trauma. But I guess you could use it to manipulate someone too. So,
There's a lot of small things you can do too, like if just pick one. It's yeah. Here's a good example. If somebody says this is good and this is bad, what you do if you're trying to influence them, you take that's just spheric. I never can say it. I can see the word, I just don't say it much. Hemisphere, where they're saying this side's
yeah.
good. So what you want to do, you want to move yourself to the side where their body associates good with it, and you can do
Huh.
all, and that's not that in and of itself. It's not going to do much, but you do enough small things like that. You do them tricky enough, you can start to have an effect.
That's fascinating. That's really interesting. That like now I want somebody to try to hypnotize me. But what if they already have and I just didn't know it? That's probably what happened. I've probably already been hypnotized and I just don't know it.
Well, all sorts of little things like take your hands, interlock your fingers like that,
Okay.
grip them, take your thumbs, lock those
Okay.
too. Okay,
Okay.
now take
Like
your
that.
two fingers and hold them an inch apart from each other like that while keeping your
Okay.
thumbs locked. Okay.
Whoop. Whoa, knock it over. Hold on.
keep
Okay.
keep your fingers
Like
apart.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
You have your thumbs. Yeah, you have your thumbs. You have it like that. You
Yeah.
have a good grip. Okay.
Yeah.
And now your fingers will start to go together. It's like you won't be able to keep them apart. The longer you go, you'll have to start fighting it. They want to go together. It's just no matter what, you can't. You're trying, but it's like they're going to start to go together.
They really do. Is that a physiological thing or is that in my brain? Or is that
What
both?
what that is actually, that's a real simple one. Where yeah, you have to keep fighting it to keep them apart. But what
Yeah.
happens is you do this number and do this number, your fingers will naturally want to go that way
Yeah.
because the grip here.
Oh,
So,
because
yeah,
you're like
yeah, a lot of
muscle.
mentalists will
Like,
do that one.
that's
There's
interesting.
I don't have cards handy. Damn it. I should have got some cards out. But yeah, there's all sorts of little tricks like that. But there's it seems some of it's like, so, wow, that's like psychic. Like, no, there's reasons behind it. It's just trying to figure out what it is.
This is really
Yeah.
interesting. I think talking of sociopaths, you can also starve them of the attention they like and do a controlled compliment to lure them into thinking they got you. That's interesting. But then what do you do with that if you've lured them in? Then what do you do with them? I don't know if this is a good sign, friend. I don't know.
Nice.
I mean, it might be effective. Seventh asks a very good question. How's that working out for you? Oh, well, sorry to give you a hard time when you're not even here anymore. Have a good night, Todd. Take care. Good to see you always, always.
There was one famous case done. It's in a paper, I think, called "A Picture's Worth 1,000 Lies," and police actually did this, where they just, it's that, what was it they call that? Oh, I had a hunch, that whole thing. Oh, this guy's guilty. Well, they didn't have the evidence. And the guy didn't do it, but it's an excellent example of gaslighting, where what they did, they worked up a photograph, fake, had a fake date on it and all this other stuff, but it showed his truck at the scene, and they drove a truck similar to his at the scene. And this guy wasn't, how do I say it? He wasn't terribly smart, but they said, oh, this is a satellite photograph, and yeah, we were able to get this, and here's your truck at the site. It's like, no, I wasn't there. And he's going, well, and how did this happen? He's like, you did this and you did that and you didn't know you were doing it. And they actually got him to confess, and they faked it all. And so, yeah,
I've heard of that happening.
Yeah, that one's actually kind of famous, but yeah, there's been a lot of unscrupulous police departments doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I've heard of false confessions being like that was actually a whole like unit in I can't remember if it was undergrad or grad school, but that was a whole section on false confessions being elicited through like really suggested like over the top interrogation techniques. Like if you get somebody, in the right or wrong, I guess, position, where they're really susceptible and they're really vulnerable, you can get them questioning their own memory and thinking they maybe did do something that they didn't do. Apparently we were underwater at one point. Mom says, is it me or are you both underwater? I don't know.
You got a disembodied head.
Jesse Miller says the sound is clear for me. Okay. So maybe it's the connection. Maybe it's because we're broadcasting so far. Broadcasting is not the term, I know. I don't know what the term is now in Wi-Fi world. Hey, Sweet Liberty. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Ned. Notice, nothing mentioned within this show should be considered medical advice. The feeling in your fingers are not hypnotized. Thank you for the disclaimer. Oh, wait, Nisha's looking out for us.
It is not just a hat rack.
What does that mean? Did I miss that? Ben Head is not just a hat rack. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Ben's a smart dude. That's one of the reasons I like talking to him.
I'm so slow. I wouldn't say that. I just.
Apparently, our audio is okay. This was very. We don't have a particular topic. We're just hanging out, chatting, guys, because we were like, well, I think I might go live. Well, I think I might go live. Well, why don't we just both go live and just chat because we're chatting anyway. So that's fun.
And the really easy way to tell false confession is somebody's making a false confession. They'll be sitting like me. They're sitting perfectly fine. Versus a real confession, what happens is they'll start to do this number. They'll typically look down to their right, where that's your emotional center, where you're reviewing, okay, I did this. What are the feelings I have? And oh my gosh, this is all weighing on me so much. You're looking, you're thinking about the situation you're in, how bad it feels. You're looking down left, okay, can I get out of this? And they start doing that number, then finally you'll fall open. And that's just where you
like
get to
slump,
they'll actually do that sometimes. do this number, they'll kind of fall open a little bit. And there's a few videos where you can see prime examples of it, and then they'll confess. And that's a quick, easy way to tell. But I mean, of course, there's tons of other factors in there. But yeah,
That's really interesting. The false confession thing that can be dangerous on a
yeah,
number of levels.
oh yeah,
This is a good question. Oh, Jason P says, so on this topic, imagine a world where people, generally speaking, didn't have an incessant desire to save face. That'd be nice. This community is just incredible. Selfless, compassionate, and empathetic. Love y'all. We love you too, Jason P. You're awesome. And that's a good question. Like, because I don't know, a lot of people getting irritated with each other is kind of like I don't know, embarrassed or saving face kind of a thing. I mean, I don't know.
yeah. Hmm.
I don't. There have been a few times in my life I can remember, like, being, like, super embarrassed, like, mostly in school, like most people have,
Mhm.
where maybe I didn't handle it super well, but generally speaking, as an adult, like, I don't mind being wrong about things. Like, I
Yeah.
know for some people that's really hard, like, that hurts their ego, that, like, hurts their sense of self and their confidence. Some people really don't like being wrong. I don't mind being wrong at all. Like, I like to be open to the idea that I am wrong so I can maybe learn something,
Mhm.
um, which is kind of like the opposite of some of the people I grew up with who were always right, if you know what I mean. Um, so maybe that's why I have a tolerance for being wrong.
And that's one thing I've found lately with me is I've been investigating tons of things that I don't know if I believe them or not, but it doesn't. There is no harm in me whatsoever. Looking at things like things that maybe during the satanic panic of the '80s, where D&D is going to
Oh,
get you,
yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
I've been in, I've been like, okay, well, what is this about, and crystals. Okay, you know, okay, just you tell me what happens. Things like that. And it's like we don't have to agree, but I'm I'm
Yeah.
interested to learn about it.
I think
I'm
if it
interested,
helps somebody, then I'm happy for them, you know?
yeah. And I think a lot of it is too is visualization. Is that it doesn't matter what if I use this as a symbol of when this gives me confidence, or this
Yeah.
I envision you know being empathically, how do I say this? I hate that word, as somebody who feels a lot more than more than I'm comfortable with. I feel more empathy than I'm comfortable with. Okay, I can envision if I'm feeling other people's feelings. Okay, I can take this and I can say, okay, those feelings are going into this. It's the same, that's something that's mentioned a lot in a lot of
Use it
the
as a symbol
grounding
to help you
techniques.
visualize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like one of the techniques to ground. It was pure visualization. Imagine yourself by a stream. You're writing these feelings on a leaf. You put the leaf into the stream, and
I'm
that
laughing 'cause
all that.
I've been telling people that same metaphor in sessions, like, for the
Mhm.
last 2 weeks. I wish
and,
I were more, unique, I guess.
and that's 100%
I like
visualization.
that one. I like
Yeah.
that one. That one, I like to use that one about mindfulness and about, like, unhelpful thoughts. Like, everybody has intrusive thoughts sometimes, like,
Mhm.
thoughts that you don't necessarily control that just pop into your head out of nowhere. Sometimes it's really ridiculous, sometimes it's off the wall, sometimes it's even disturbing, and people get really distressed by those, and
Mhm.
kind of if you, like, think about, well, thoughts are random sometimes, like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just your brain misfiring or doing a weird thing. So, you've got a bazillion of them, and they could all be floating by on this stream, and you don't have to grab every leaf and keep it. You can
Mhm.
just say, "Oh, that was a weird leaf. Bye-bye. I'm gonna let that
Yeah.
one float on by. Oh,
Yeah.
I like this one. I'm gonna keep this one." That's what I like to use that metaphor for. That one makes me
Yeah.
happy. Warren, It's not a unique leaf. It's been cloned. It appears in multiple rivers. That could be a problem.
Did
That
you
could be a
just
problem.
tell on yourself that you are false confessing right now?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I did it. Whatever it is, I did it.
I don't know.
I did not kill it, break it, eat it, or I don't know where it is.
What have you heard? It's all true. Oh, there's a lot of this out there. What did Mr. Brad Boy say? I can usually admit when I'm wrong. It's just the fact it's hard to sometimes. Yeah, it can be. Especially if it was something you're very emotionally attached to. That's a little different.
Mhm.
There's a syndrome called It's All About Me, and they are special. I went to the supermarket and I was trying to get around a few folks, and I said, "Excuse me." Like they're all just standing in the way.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
I get more irritated with people in more crowded areas, like the more traffic there is. Like I'm a much better human when the traffic is better. I'm a much more patient, kind person when the traffic's not as bad. But I think that's
Yeah.
normal.
And
If you can't,
that's where I've started to do
yeah.
mock is why do I believe what I believe? Am I right? And you know what? You start investigating, it's like I was completely wrong. Body language, before I started this whole thing,
Mhm.
I was completely wrong on it. I was, you know,
Really?
yeah, I was way wrong on a lot of it. It was just because you watch, and there is a lot of things to shows like Lie to Me.
I haven't
There's a lot
watched
of
that
good
one, but
stuff.
I've heard of it.
There's a lot of good stuff in there. It's about micro expressions, but there's also some absolutist stuff in there. Like you look left,
Yeah.
you're lying. Like no, you look left, you're
What if there's a
typically
bug on the wall to my left?
yeah,
It could be a
yeah,
bug.
and that's part of baseline. See where people look,
Mhm.
what are their natural adapters. You know, um, Chris and Melinda, she's covering her
I do
neck.
this.
Is she
I
feeling
do this.
threatened, or is that just a lot of times crossing your arms? It's like a judge. You're judging other people. Like
Now I'm
no,
thinking about
that
it.
could be a self hug. It can be cold. It can it depends upon so many other things. Somebody yes, you can do that, and because you're worried about somebody, you're not necessarily mad. Um, there's 100 different meanings for that. Well, not
I
100, but
lean in a lot when I'm
you know,
listening, like back of my when I'm whistling and I'm really like picking something up, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I lean in a lot and then I naturally have to do something with the hands. But I don't know, maybe
yeah,
I mean I don't think I feel threatened. I don't
like
think I do.
I do this a lot, and that's because I lost
Yeah.
no feeling. Um,
Oh, really?
so uh-huh, I
I
had
did not know that.
they broke my jaw. They
Oh
moved it forward and they wired it shut. But the problem is they
my
cut a
gosh.
nerve. They cut a nerve when they did it. So I have no feeling. As a result, after I drink or something, I have no idea. I could be, and that's happened a few times. I've developed a drinking problem after that. Kind of, you know, um,
Wow.
but yeah, you know, that this you're feeling threatened. Some people just do that. I do that.
Yeah.
Grab your throat. Some people, oh, dude, I swear to God that this happened. That some people just say that. A lot of people say it when they're lying. But
Hi
yeah, you
and
have to
good
know the
night,
person.
Chief Rhino. Good to see you. Good night, Mr. Brat Boy. Sorry, a lot of people just do the neck thing you said. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all the little like things I do, like when I'm sitting. So the therapy office I work in, like it's a beautiful office. I didn't have to furnish any of it. Like it was already like all decorated and furnished and everything. Like I work in someone else's practice and she's awesome and I love working there. Um, but the chair is like too tall for me. Like my legs are just a little bit too short. So I'm forever trying to figure out what to do with my legs. So
Mm,
half the time I have like my legs tucked up under me in this big armchair, like a
wow.
little kid.
When your feet fall asleep,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
try to get up and
But so far it doesn't seem to put off people. So I guess we're okay. I tried getting a pillow to like move me forward, but that's not perfect either. So now I'm going to be thinking about my body language during all my sessions.
ah,
Am I freaking him out?
your baseline. You know,
Nah, I
um,
actually I lose track of my body language because I get I
Yeah.
get absorbed in the other person and, like, what's going on for them. Actually, it's
And
hard
that
for me to keep the time managed because of that.
and that's very natural. And that's, you know, the more you try to manage it, um, you know, it's like one of those things where, you know, actors, everybody thinks, well, actors, they would be good at lying because they do that on, you know, camera. And the problem is that, yeah, they do that as a job on
Mhm.
camera. The problem is there's no there's not high stakes there. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
right now, I can tell you my hair is green. You know, okay. There's no contract between us. There's
right.
no, you know,
There's no
there's no
risk in that.
consequence. Well,
Yeah.
in this case too, you obviously know I'm lying, but so there's no stress there. But you do something like you take Billy Baldwin or one of the whoever the Baldwin guy was.
The Baldwin
Um,
brothers.
you know, you take one of them and you throw them in where there's consequences. You know, there could be massive
Mhm.
consequences. Boom, there's an instant stress load on them. So then stuff's going to start to come out. And it's really fascinating. There was one where it was a police detective who she was responsible for interrogating criminals. Well, she took her ex-boyfriend's wife and killed her. And they interrogated her. It's on they what's her name? Stephanie Lazarus. They also called her Spazarus. But she oh man. I mean, oh my because and it's just because she's under such stress load, but it's like there's one point where she's
It's
looking
very
like
clear.
Jim Carrey doing an imitation of the mask. Bah, bah,
Like,
bah.
the facial expressions are
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
dramatic, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's like, wow. And it's like, good grief.
Sweet Tea
She,
wants us to know she is this hilarious. She's probably a few minutes behind on the show, so my hilarious comment doesn't exactly line up with what you're talking about, but don't get it wrong, I am hilarious. I believe you, Sweet Tea. You absolutely are hilarious. You are. Well, that's interesting. A senior Mom says a senior psychiatrist I work with said people who smoke is to help cover their mouths. And he said,
yeah.
"Are you scared to talk?" Huh. I
Well,
never would have thought
they'll
of
yeah,
that.
they'll do that out of habit. Like a lot of times, object insertion, driving a pen. I don't
I still hold
glasses.
pens sometimes, like a cigarette. I haven't smoked in a decade, and I still will, like,
Yeah,
sometimes do that. And
you
I'll,
know,
like,
they're
ash
taught.
the the pencil.
You know, an object insertion is supposed to be a need for reassurance. You know, so, but you know, a lot of people, smokers especially, they'll
Yeah,
still constantly put pens in there. And some people just learn to do it that way. That's another place where you know, uh,
yeah. Have you
I've
ever
never
heard of
no.
jewelry?
Hmm?
Have you ever heard of jewelry? It's like little, like, rubbery, I guess, like, silicone, like, pendants and things like that, that you can bite on really hard and, like, chew on, and it's, like, really tough, but it's, like, soft enough, it's not gonna damage your teeth. It's really
Huh.
popular if you have kiddos with, like, autism or sensory needs and they
Mm,
have to chew stuff, and it's supposed to give them
hmm.
something safer to chew on. We got a few of these for my kiddo, but he doesn't really seek that sensory input so much anymore. But I kept one. And when I'm doing certain type of paperwork, like not when I'm
Hmm.
talking with people, but when I'm doing certain work at home, I'll like gnaw really hard on these jewelry
Oh
things.
yeah. Yeah, and I catch myself doing it's also a need for need for reassurance a lot of times. Sometimes like a lot of times I'll do it when I'm talking to somebody. It's just because I'm letting them talk. That's another thing where you cover your mouth because you're letting the other person talk. You're kind of
Yeah,
signaling to them just keep talking.
yeah.
But yeah, and then that's one of the things about narcissists too that makes it really hard. And a lot of cops blow this is you ask them a question. If they don't, you just sit back, don't say, and it's hard. It's really hard not to. You want to fill empty space. Empty space is awkward. But if you just sit back
Oh.
and just let them, and
Give them enough
cops,
rope to hang themselves, basically.
yeah, and they'll eventually fill the space.
Huh.
And you just keep, and that's what you want. You just want them talking as much as possible. But then there's something I can't do. You have to keep track of it all in your head, and you start boxing them in. But yeah, and that's something which I can't do.
Oh,
I'm
like
just not
listen
that
for
good remembering.
inconsistencies and things like that?
Yeah, yeah, you have to a little bit of statement analysis, that kind of thing, and that's statement analysis.
What is statement analysis? Is that
That's where you analyze what the person said, what they didn't say, the words they used, the word choice, and things like that. And it can reveal a lot because lying
Hmm.
is actually hard. Everybody thinks, oh, it's easy to
Yeah.
lie.
We have to create something. You
Yeah,
you can't, you can't just it's not just recall. There's creativity involved.
yeah. A lot of times, I'm trying to remember an example. Um, there was there was like a rash of video game, um, Call of Duty, I think was one of them. Yeah, Call
Oh,
of
I
Duty.
remember when Call of Duty first came out.
There was a rash of professional gamers making money on Twitch, I think. One
Really?
of one of
Yeah,
something.
Twitch streaming.
Yeah, and a lot of them were cheating their asses off. So what they would do is they'd have these videos where they would use different programs and things like that where you could
To make
reveal
it look
everybody's
like they were
position.
better at it than they
Yeah,
were?
yeah, a lot of them. And there was a bunch of them that were caught. But there's a guy called
I don't know
on
why, but
YouTube.
it
He's
never
called
occurred to me.
Deceptive Detective, and he doesn't do much in the way of body language. Almost
Yeah.
everything he does is statement analysis. But watching his videos, it's fascinating because he's actually trained in it. He's an attorney, and
Huh.
yeah,
Well,
he's
right, so
able.
cross-examining and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like they'll say really minor things, but it's like words matter, and what they're
Mhm.
saying and not saying is really important because they'll um what was it? I'm trying to remember some of the statements, and a lot of them were gaming, and they're saying, "Oh, they never come out and say I haven't cheated." They'll come out and say, "Oh, I'm not using this, I'm not using that," but of course they're not. They're carefully avoiding the most popular cheat program, the one that they're probably using,
Yeah.
and they'll shoot their
So they're
screen.
kinda
Yeah,
technically not lying, but
yeah. It's that kind of thing because it creates so much stress on the body, and I kept thinking, "This isn't like, really? Does it really work like that?" But, you know and I
I
think
think
maybe they put themselves under enough stress. Maybe? Yeah, I don't understand a lot of statement analysis. It's still really new to me, but, yeah, watching him go, he does a bunch of videos,
I'm gonna have to look that
not
up
not
now.
just gamers, but yeah, the gamers is the ones I remember. But yes, some of the stuff he comes up with is like, wow, this is fascinating. And what's really interesting about it is some of the videos I saw him analyze. I've seen other people analyze from the purely
Mhm.
technical standpoint, and they say, yeah, this person's using this because you can see him wearing sunglasses or not wearing sunglasses. You see like some of them where they have a camera on and they're looking at the screen, but you see their eyes always going down left. And that means they have a little program running where they can see everybody's, where everybody's at, and they'd be doing that number and just holding the trigger
Like,
down because they
peeking at
have,
it?
yeah, yeah, they'd just be looking, they're supposed to be, their shows their character going around corners and everything, but their eyes are always locked down left. And then that was one of the examples I was talking about earlier. The video of what's the guy's name? Joe Rogan that he had with Travis Walton, Fire in the Sky. He was supposed to be the guy up in Snowflake who got abducted by aliens. Well, you watch him go in, he's in the video and they're talking, oh, like, I wish I could remember specifically what they said, but it was something like, like, oh, did you enjoy the flight? Oh yeah, flight was good. Oh, what, like something like, what did it look like out your room? Oh, it was pretty
Mhm.
good. I was, yeah, it was a really good sight and, really good, um, uh, we had a really good meal and things like that. And then you go, okay, so you saw the UFO. What happened? Well, then the UFO and all of his illustrators just disappear, and he's just the entire time he's
That's
looking
so
down here,
crazy.
which is for rote memory. It's like, what did the UFO look like? Well, it was a white ship and a light came out of it. And it's like, wait a minute, your eyes should be darting around. Well, it's white and you should have illustrators, things punctuating when
Illustrators
you
are the
say,
like the hand signals and things like
yeah,
that, where you kinda talk with your hands, right?
yeah, and there's a real for illustrators, it's a real famous video of OJ OJ Simpson, where what happens when you illustrate, you're saying specific words and phrases that match
Oh,
your body. Well, he's saying,
but
I didn't kill her. I
but
couldn't
it
kill her.
punctuates it.
And it was after, because what's happening is your brain
Like,
saying,
didn't match.
yeah, and that's a dead giveaway.
That's
Um,
wild.
yeah, it's really fascinating. You start digging into it, but it's one of these things where it takes multiple things to, because you don't want to base, you're lying based off one itty bitty thing. You want to,
There's
you
a
know,
context of things. There's
a
like a
cluster.
combination, yeah.
You know,
Mock says, "I kinda naturally trigger people with narcissistic tendencies because I'm just really not reactive or impressed, and they start to want you to react because they're not used to being in control." Oh, that's interesting. So, like, they get frustrated with you and walk away, "She's not impressed with me." Ugh, is that what happens? I mean, that's a good skill to have actually, like, to not be affected,
hmm, that
because some of us
that is,
really struggle with being very easily affected.
yeah.
Um, so that's actually really cool. That's a superpower. If you just don't react, you're not impressed by the what would you call it? The magic show, I think. I think some narcissists, they do what I call the magic show, where, like, they distract you with all the pretty shining lights and all that stuff, and you don't realize what's going on.
How do you observe someone to get a good baseline of their normal behavior versus lying? What you typically do, um, and I'm trying not to do it because I don't want to put like what I do with Chris and Melinda is we're in the environment, um, and it
So
would
ask me
change.
something you know the answer to, and I'll that you know if I'm lying or not, and I'll try to lie, but they don't know if I'm lying.
Trying to think how to do this. Where I would know if you're lying, or they wouldn't, or I
Where
wouldn't know
you
if
would
you're
know
lying,
if I'm lying.
but they wouldn't. Let me
Well,
try this.
you
Oh
can
man,
point
this
out
is
my
hard.
tells. You can point out
This
my
is
tells to people.
this is hard to do online, and my success rate doing this online is not very good. Okay, think of, don't say it. Think of two
Okay.
truths and one lie.
Okay. Hold on a sec.
This is really hard to do,
Okay.
especially when your screen's this
Okay.
small. Okay, now put them in order. Don't put two truths and a lie, but I mean, mix them up to where you have one lie mixed in there.
Okay.
Okay, repeat it to yourself in your head.
The
The
lie
first one.
one?
No, oh, no, just the whatever,
Okay.
just repeat one,
Okay.
repeat the other, repeat the third. Is the third
Okay.
one a lie? Oh, okay. Oh, correct. Okay, I messed that up. Okay, try it again. The first one?
So I was supposed to mix them up, right? Like they're
Yeah,
not in any
yeah,
particular order, right? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So repeat the first one in my head. Okay.
Mhm. The second one.
Okay.
Okay. This is hard to do on a small screen, especially with all these
I blow it
buttons.
up.
Okay, now the third,
Okay.
the first one,
Okay.
second one,
Okay.
third one.
Okay.
Is it the first one?
It was.
Okay. I mean, that
It
that's
was.
really that's
The
really it's really hard to do on the screen.
the
You
lie the
typically,
lie was I don't like anchovies, and I actually love anchovies.
okay.
And the truths
That's
were you didn't even have
really
to
hard
ask
to,
me what they were. That's interesting. I
but
don't know what I
that's
expected. I expected you to be to say them.
um but yeah, I mean, it's really hard to do on a screen. Typically you want to do that one face to face, but
Yeah.
yeah, it takes a lot of observation to do that.
What did I do when I was thinking
I get
about
it
the
wrong.
lie?
I get it wrong on the computer a lot, but
Yeah?
because it's your face is this big, you know.
Yeah, that must be but you caught it, but it like, because that was the first one I was thinking of was the lie, so, like, what did I do? What?
Well,
That was
what
the
you're looking
one.
for there is just change. Because
Okay.
the two your eyes
Like,
dart around a
moving or
lot,
something?
and that
Mine
kinda
do?
threw me. Yeah, your eyes kinda
Okay.
and they don't not when you're
I'm
lying, they just
shifty.
do. You know, and I can't remember, I think the first one, you did something with your mouth that you didn't do in the other 2, and that's all you're
I don't
looking for
even
is change,
I'm
you
not
know?
even conscious of what I did. That's wild. That's pretty
But
cool, man.
but, yeah, but, like I said, that's I'm definitely not 100%. Um, yeah, especially on a screen. Um, but, there's a lot of mentalists out there. Well,
I guess I'm not a great liar, I guess, at least not when I'm
they'll
thinking.
well, and, you know, we think we're better at lying than we are, but it's just that,
Yeah.
people lost their, like, lily livered liar. Your skin, your liver, there was actually some truth to a lot of those statements. Bald faced liar, your face would
Mhm.
kind of get, discolored and things like that. There's a lot of these old sayings that were rooted in what people used to know that we've in later times kind of forgot. Um, but yeah, a lot of those old sayings are
Oh, thanks, mocked. I'll take that as a compliment, and you're a bad liar. I'll take it.
but yeah, a lot of lies are just a lot of
It's just
lies
like a change in their expression, huh?
are one of the most common lies is the fake smile. You smile.
Oh, the one where it's
Where
just the mouth
yeah,
and the
what
cheeks
you
don't go
want
up.
is you have this little hook that'll appear on the corner of your eyes,
Yeah.
and things like that.
My
Fake
husband says when I'm
surprises.
smiling really big, my eyes get tiny because I like, my cheeks go up really
Yeah,
high.
yeah, yeah. That's the way it. A real smile involves the eyes. Fake smiles is
It's just it's just the
I
mouth.
don't smile with my teeth, and that's just because I had braces for so much of my life. That's a learned behavior. But there's another example where my baseline would be different than a lot of other people. So yeah, that's kind
Because
of
of
one of the things.
having the braces when you were young.
Yeah, I had them for most of my life, and so I adapted to them. My um, my lips actually grew. They were so bad, my lips actually, I have more lip. So yeah, as a result, of
Like when we
course,
were
also
underwater.
my lower jaw's also, even though they slid forward, still small. Um,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, I mean, that's just, that's another example where, you'd have to, and that's what interrogators will do. They'll sit down, they'll talk. So, how was your trip here? Okay, yeah, we just have some paperwork. This is all minor, and they'll they will convince you
Talk
that,
about something else that's, like, totally chill, like, everything's
yeah,
fine to try to get you to relax, like they're not
and
interrogating you.
what they're doing is they're asking you questions and they're watching. Where do her eyes go when she's trying to remember something visual? Where do her eyes go when she's trying to
They're
remember
getting a
something auditory?
baseline. Oh, so they're asking, like, innocuous questions that don't really
Yeah,
matter to get the baseline. Is this
yeah.
true? Is Monday is this true, Ben? In case she doesn't see you before Monday, Ben, happy birthday. Happy early birthday.
I used to be able to lie to both my parents and say, "No, that was the 21st. You're remembering it's not the 12th, it's the 21st," and they bought it all the time.
Wait, you
Um,
lied to your parents about when your birthday was and they bought
oh,
it?
I
No,
li
no
I lied
way.
to I lied to my parents all the time. Of course,
About but they bought when your birthday.
well,
Oh,
yeah, and
man.
they got screwed up because there's my daughter. Good gods. Um, niece also has her
Okay.
birthday, and it's like mine's the 12th and hers is the 20 something. They always got them mixed up. But
My husband's and my child's are 2 days apart. different years, obviously, but 2 days
Hmm.
apart. So if I'm picking up something like a prescription for one or the other and I have to give the birthday, I have to be very careful, like 25, not 27. I have to be very specific. Aw, well, happy birthday in advance. I
Oh,
don't
thank you.
I'm sorry if you didn't want that to be public, but we love you,
I'm
Ben, you're
not
awesome.
celebrating. I can't count that high. I graduated from Bisbee High School. I can't count that high.
I like Mom's version, happy born day. I like that. That makes me happy. Happy born day.
Hopefully, you'll be doing something nice for my wife on my birthday. I'm doing
For
something
her?
nice for her? How does that work?
How does that work? I think she meant with. I'm guessing.
I'll get her to Google Ron Jeremy. Couldn't remember his name for a second.
That kind of dark humor is actually what bonded my husband and I together, is we have the same sense of humor, which is usually pretty inappropriate. So I don't make all those jokes online. Oman wants another two truths and a lie thing.
Oh my gosh.
Are we worn out? Are we gonna save that for next
Well,
time? It is.
my percentage is so low on the computer.
You got me. I mean, I don't have a great poker face though.
Yeah, and unfortunately I'm really expressive. But yeah, all you're looking for is
I'm
change.
pretty expressive too. Have you ever been wrongly emailed happy birthday when the month and day are reversed? Me? No, I don't think so.
I've done that. So I remember the date, 10,
Okay,
10,
Mom's
12,
okay
and
with us. We'll take a rain check. Well, next time we do a stream together, we'll open it with Ben figures out if I'm thinking of a lie in my head. I love that though. Like that's fun for me. Like, what did I do? I'll have to figure out how to not do it.
but yeah,
Oh, that's right.
mind you, it's one thing to know it. It's one thing to actually spot it.
This is the happy birthday cupcake. Mary makes these. They're awesome. I can almost smell the frosting, can't you? Like it's fabric, but it still makes me think of frosting.
Yeah, it's Monday.
A cupcake. Oh, somebody requested Herman earlier. Have you met Herman, Ben?
Yeah, the
Have you been
disembodied
around?
head. Yeah,
Yes, the
the
fish.
decapitated fish carcass.
Donut,
Does a
donut,
head count as a carcass?
Oh, oh, technically. Hey guys, how's it going? He's swimming away. One of these days, I'm gonna like accidentally have it in frame, like when I'm doing a telehealth session and I'm gonna scare a client. I have to be very careful about that. The other
Well,
day I
yeah.
had my sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
The other day I had my dog in here, and usually he's not in here with me when I'm doing telehealth on Fridays from home, but he was because he was being very quiet and he was just chilling. And the first thing that like everybody asked was, "Oh, I want to see the doggy," and they all said animal therapy. Like, so I wish he were a little more chill, then I could have him be a therapy dog. He seems chill now, but like when you take him out for a walk, he freaks out and he like wags his whole body. He gets super excited.
We had what was it? It was part Rottweiler, part German Shepherd, but we used to take her to the after we got her canine good citizen
Oh,
certification or whatever, we were able to take her to the Alzheimer's unit. They love that dog, and she was just a
oh,
good dog. And yeah,
I bet
everybody
that was so
apparently would get
cool.
so excited to see the dog.
That's awesome. I love that. Animals make people happy in a way
They
that other
really
people
do.
can't always do, you know?
Yeah,
Like they don't ask complicated things of us, I guess, and that, they just want you to be there. Like
yeah.
I think that's kind of nice. That's therapeutic sometimes because people are
Dog
complicated, right?
dogs are always ready to party for you too.
Oh
Anytime
yeah,
that
heck
you're happy,
yeah.
they're happy.
Yeah, every time I get up around here, he's like, "Where are we going, mom? What's up? What's the plan?" And he'll like, especially if you're the only one at home with him, he will follow you around the house, like, "What's up? Where are we going? What's happening next?"
Yeah.
Unless we just got back from a walk and then he just kind of flops down somewhere like, bleh. Hi. Can't think of a better name. Good to see you. Hi.
Hi? Hi or one? Or is that an
I
exclamation
guess
point? My
could be
contacts
either.
are
Hi,
fuzzy.
either way.
Oh, wasn't he in the chat earlier? He or she?
Oh, I think she was. Yeah, I think so.
She. Okay.
Sorry if I didn't say hi earlier. I'm slacking. I'm slacking. It's because it's after midnight where I am. It's only 10, like a little after 10 where you are, right? Because you guys don't play the daylight savings thing. You guys don't play that game
I love it. But unfortunately, it still screws us up because
because the
these,
rest of the world has to be
yeah,
crazy.
the heathen out there, like, oh, we want to change
Heathen.
our clock. The unwashed, I don't know.
The unwashed daylight savings fools still stuck on daylight savings time. Oh, okay. The mystery is solved. Typo, sorry.
Oh, okay.
The
Like,
mystery is solved.
okay, maybe there's some neuroscience there. Maybe he's like, she. But yeah, there's a
Well,
lot of weird stuff that. Hmm.
oh, thank you, Mom. Just sent you the link. I haven't been looking at my phone at all. So if you guys sent me a message, I apologize if I missed it. Oh, awesome. That's really cool. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. Not right this
But
second, obviously. It's not on yet.
yeah, daylight savings time, it messes up. It messes us up because the rest, everybody else. I mean, if it's, it doesn't mess me up as far as what time to go to work or anything like that because that, is all local. But yeah, when other people, when you're having to coordinate with them and everything, I finally get used to, okay, well, at the same time, it's California now. And then when everybody else changes, I'm like, okay, now we're back the same time as New Mexico. And
Both. So there were 2 years in a row where I was in car accidents where I got rear-ended. Like, it was the other person, like, reaction time, not good. And on
Mhm.
both times, it was, like, right after daylight savings time had changed, like, in the spring.
Wow.
And I think probably if I looked it up, if there was a statistic out there, you probably see there's more car wrecks right around the time changes because
Mhm.
people's sleep is off, their routine is off, and all that stuff affects reaction time and attention
Mhm.
span and all of that. Um, so I
Oh,
guess it
wow.
it it used to have a purpose, right? Like for
Mm.
farming and stuff, I think, but now we have
Yeah.
electric lights and can do things at night, so I don't know that it
Yeah.
really serves a purpose anymore, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some magic daylight savings time provides us, but I'm not aware of it.
Have you ever had anybody do a confusing statement on you?
I don't think so. I remember you talking about them, though.
Okay.
Is that, like, to try to get my attention or get like, what is the goal of a confusion statement?
The goal of a confusion statement, it's basically to get, you have like a, for lack of a better word or a better phrase, you have a kind of like a file clerk in your head, and they're
Mhm,
kind of, so what you do is this file clerk decides when not, you know, let thoughts in.
mhm,
And if you just tell somebody to relax, yeah, so what? Um, but what happens is you overload that file clerk and you give them something that's confusing. What's happening is this just it's your brain doing it. It's not actually a little person in your head, at least unless you're probably
I
in
like the visual,
some kind
though.
of
I like
therapy.
that.
But what happens is this file clerk or this part of your brain is it's filing stuff. If you feed it enough confusing statements, it'll start. It was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. I got to figure this out. So it starts to kind
Mhm,
of throw that in the back part of your brain. So then what happens is you then say something that does make sense. And because that part of your brain is engaged with what the flip is what does this idiocy mean, you're able to slip that confusion statement through in your it'll slip into your subconscious easier, and you're more likely to do whatever it is. Now you can't like,
because it's the one thing that makes sense in the
yeah,
midst like, right
you
after something confusing.
yeah, your brain will grab a hold of it a lot easier. Like confusion, a
What?
good example of a confusion statement. And the problem is you have to say it with absolute confidence and you can't stutter. Just think about what wouldn't really not change if everything was different, if nothing else did. You can relax. And what happens is, it's just a lot of blah, 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 blah. These words don't even make sense together. But yeah, you have to say it with absolute
That's
confidence.
really good. That's
And
cool.
it's actually hard to do. It took me a long
Well,
time.
yeah. Well, our
And,
natural way of wanting to talk is we wanna make sense to people,
yeah,
right? So, that's
yeah.
probably I would think that's hard to, like, how
And
do I purposefully not make any sense? Well,
and it's
I
it's
guess
hard not
I
to
don't
say,
make sense all the time,
because you're just throwing words together and, your brain
like
needs
word
time to.
salad.
And yeah, it needs time to, what's the next word? I don't know, and do things like that. Yeah, so you say, they'll snap out of it and doesn't do anything.
I had a
But
family member growing up who had schizophrenia, and sometimes this person would say a lot of things that didn't make sense and would naturally, like, just not on purpose, like, say things that were word salad, and then every now and then something would make sense. So, I
mhm,
can see, like, how that would happen, and I remember very clearly the things she said that did make sense because
mhm.
so much of what she said was word salad. She taught me
Oh,
to
yeah.
speak a phrase in Japanese, and I'll always remember that. And I thought, well, that could have been incorrect, but later I asked somebody and they were like, "Oh, no, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much right." She taught me how to say, "I don't speak a word of Japanese" in Japanese. So I thought that was fun.
Wow.
But
That's
it was in the
fascinating.
midst of, like, no, she was really, really intelligent, but also very ill sometimes, you know?
Mhm.
But I can see how the confusion state, like, I think she did it on accident, you know?
Mm,
She wasn't trying
mhm.
to, but it happened.
Well, and that's, a lot of the, sadly, a lot of the, I don't know if you saw the episode, and it's the episode I got my clips from, Aaron. Aaron. Uh, I still call him that. There was an episode where he was doing stage 1, I think it was, where he's
Mhm.
digging, you have the bridge and you have clear way up here, but there's, like, all
Oh,
these
yeah.
minor, he had the book for it, and he was
Yeah.
going through it, and a lot of it's just stupid idiocy, you know, "What did my finger just," the example, the one I had, "What did my finger just do? What did,"
Is that what
and of
that was
course,
from?
yeah, and what they do is they repeat it over and over and over and over and over. And the thing is, you feed that kind of idiocy over and over again, that's having an effect on your brain. I mean, that's the only one I can
For
think
sure.
of, but there was a
Yeah.
bunch of dumb ones like, tell that lamp to sit on the floor,
Oh,
or
oh, oh, oh.
yeah, things like
Yelling
that.
at
And
the
you're,
ashtray to sit down. That
yeah,
is one that I've heard a lot of people talk about.
yeah,
"Sit
and that,
down." Like, yell as loud as you can at the ashtray to sit down and then, "Thank you."
yeah. And that is kind of, I mean, that's not really a confusion statement, but it's having an odd effect on you because you're
Yeah.
hypnotizing yourself by repeating over and over and over. That's what self
Yeah.
hypnosis is. This is just, this is horrible.
Oh, you know what? So back a couple years ago, like, I read pretty much everything I could get my hands on about Scientology and about L. Ron Hubbard, and there's some stuff I haven't read, but I've read a lot of it, and, um, I can't remember which book it was. It was either A Piece of Blue Sky by John Atack or
Mhm.
Barefaced Messiah. Well, one of
Mm,
those books, they talk about the early days of Scientology before it was called Scientology and it was just called Dianetics, and he didn't even have the e-meter in the beginning. Like, it was
mm,
just having people lie on a couch, and it basically, like, to read the description of it, it was hypnosis. It just was
mhm.
hypnosis. It was like an offshoot of, like,
Yeah,
psychotherapy. So basically it is self-hypnosis, but
yeah,
people don't realize they're doing it, I guess.
yeah,
So,
and
I mean, you could use that for really great things. You could use that
mhm,
to make yourself really successful and confident, but
yeah.
then it could also be used to make horrible things happen and hurt you too. So,
I used it for a while to increase my heat tolerance to,
oh yeah.
the tube of
Oh, to
terror.
the tubes of terror and stuff like that.
Yeah,
See,
but I mean, I did.
I don't wanna increase my heat tolerance. I like that it burns. I'm a weirdo.
Wow.
That's the fun. That's the fun for me. Like, if I have a higher heat tolerance, it's no fun.
If I
That's why it's
stuff
a
it,
great product. You don't have to eat a lot of it to get the effect. You have to get,
yeah,
like, 5 jalapenos for the same thing, all in a
and
row really fast.
I mistakenly said, that you couldn't get past calf cramps with it. I couldn't, but apparently you can. Apparently you can
Get past
hypnotize yourself
them.
to get past
Oh,
to where
to,
you
like,
don't
not
feel
notice
calf
them?
cramps, because that exact example came up, or it was maybe it wasn't calf cramps, it was some other type of cramp, but tomato, it's
Yeah,
your intestines throwing a fit.
like,
Which
contracting and yelling at
yeah,
you for your silly behavior.
yeah, and that was one of the examples in the book that I found right after I made that statement. Like, yeah, it's no way to pass calf cramps. I'm like, apparently there is, but it took me so long to tell them. I said, it's not going to burn. It's not going to burn. It's not
I
going to
had
burn.
some really
Over and over.
mild I had some really mild calf cramps once, and I didn't even realize that's what they were. I thought I just woke up feeling kinda sick, and then I was like, "Oh, I ate 3 of those things, and I hadn't eaten anything really
Mm,
hot in, like, weeks." So I described it, and somebody was like, "Yep, that's what that is."
yeah.
And, like, I can tell you from my experience, calf cramps is probably, like, as a guy, it's probably the closest thing to, like, menstrual cramps or, labor that you could feel.
Mm,
It's very like, the feeling to me is very similar to that kind of cramping, which is part of the reason I didn't think that's what it was at first. So I
yeah. And
think
I
that's
thought
kinda
lactose
interesting.
intolerance. Yeah, my
Yeah,
gut
yeah,
does the same
yeah.
thing.
I thought it was
Yeah,
something else.
but yeah, there
Are
was
there
one
any
time I
goodies?
threw up.
A little bit, Mon. A little bit. So last night when we do date night, we usually don't go places because, that involves a babysitter and stuff like that. Last night, we just stayed home and we watched Joker because I had never seen it. We watched the one with, oh, what's his name? Dang it. The
Oh,
most recent one. Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin
okay.
Phoenix. Have you seen that, Ben?
No, but I mean, I've seen it mentioned is the reason
Terrifying.
why.
It's very dark.
Mm,
If you're not in the mood for a dark film, that's not the one to watch. But if you're in the mood for a really dark character study of like someone's like descent, like it does that really, really well.
I am so old. I can actually recall. I didn't see them live. The reruns of the original Fat Batman. That was
Adam West? Yay! Okay. Well, see,
and
that's classic.
to me, Skinny Batman is an abomination. It's kind of like Fast Zombies. No, Fast
Skinny
Zombies are an
Batman.
abomination. They're supposed to be slow zombies. Yeah. So I see Skinny Batman. I was like, what the flip is this? What
Skinny
kind of
Batman.
heresy are you exposing me to? Or like Skinny Superman? No, he's Fat Superman. Now that I obviously never. I mean, that
I
was
didn't
like in
think
the
Adam
50s.
West was fat. I thought he
He
was just
wasn't
like,
really fat.
a human, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like he was a
yeah.
person.
He wasn't in stupendous shape, and he didn't have the bodysuit that made him look like. "Urgh,"
Yeah,
you
the
know.
weird bodysuits with what was it? I think it was the Tim Burton versions that had the bodysuits with the nipples on them. That's really
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. I was like that. Now we're getting to the kink here.
Yeah, yeah, it was a little bit weird. I enjoyed the Michael Keaton Batman. I
Oh,
appreciated
crafty
I
witch needs
appreciated
some
his
lunch.
take on it. Oh,
There.
forgot to ask how's Crafty Witch. Oh, she's in club right now, 9 right now. She's having a bad day, so I gave her a Vicodin. She has surgery Wednesday. Oh, one's
Hmm.
for Crafty Witch. That kind of stuff's no joke. Oh, I have to say that's one of my favorite things, like taken, appropriated, borrowed, whatever word you want to use from the lifeboat is the ones in the chat thing. I really like
Yeah,
that. You
yeah.
know,
I do.
it's, it's an easy way it's a clear way to show support in a way,
Yeah.
however you receive it best, if you like
I'm trying to
prayers, if you
remember.
like good vibes, whatever you like.
I think I've even
And
done
some
that on
ones
my
for
channel.
Mary's aunt. She was in a lot of pain today. She also said that she's ready to go home. That was hard to hear. And I'm glad she's coming up for one last hug. Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Praying for you guys, Mary. I know that's tough. I'm glad that she's coming up to see you guys, though. I know that's
Hmm.
gonna be a I know that's gonna be a rough week. I'm glad she's able to come see you guys, though.
Yeah, that is rough. There was one guy I was talking to on Tara's Discord. She has her Thursday night, and it's
Oh, I haven't
basically
been able to jump in hers in so long. I miss Tara.
yeah, she had on Thursday nights on her Discord server. It's
Mhm.
basically where whoever shows up. So it's like typically like 9 or 10 of us. No, it's not even that
Mhm.
many. Maybe
Yeah.
6 or 7. Um, and then you just go around talk about what you're going through. But one of the guys there was talking about how he was in heroin, I think.
Mhm.
He was in that, and apparently he was also alcohol, but that he knew his father was dying, and
Oh.
they called him, and he said, "Well, I'm just going to party tonight, and the next day I'll go see him tomorrow." And so he partied that night, and he got up the next morning. But by the time he got there, his father, he wasn't dead, but he lost the ability to speak, and
Oh,
he had
no.
already, and he was really broken up about that. And I don't know why I brought that up. I
Oh,
I guess
no.
about I
It was an
guess yeah,
experience similar to what someone else
yeah.
is going through with a family member. Jason. On a lighter note, Crafty is crocheting Chewbacca's. He's a bit lopsided. Is she crocheting Chewbacca currently on her pain medication? Oh.
Nice.
Oh, Crafty Witch made this little guy, this little Oogie Boogie. Isn't he cute? She makes cool stuff. She does. We have a lot of talented people. Mary makes cool stuff. Crafty Witch makes cool stuff. And she 3D printed this little dragon.
That is cool. That really was. I
Yeah.
remember seeing that.
Yeah,
It's
he's
weird how he articulates. So yeah, you could drag him across something and it's just the way his
yeah.
spine moves and
Yeah, I
everything.
was looking. I don't know how, I'll have to ask her, how she printed it because it's like little chain, like, links
Yeah,
together. I don't
it's
know
like
if
it's
you
all
can see it,
jointed. Yeah,
but I don't know how it would print that way, but he's really cool.
remember that you
And
were
Seven said his face kinda looks like Jason.
that you liked his little feet.
Yeah, yeah. I thought about bringing him to the office, but I have some kid clients. I don't want them to mess with him too much.
Nice, Mike.
Chewie has character, apparently. Oh, hi! Spike ZZZ is here. I always see your name Spike ZZZ, and I wonder, is that like sleepy Spike? Like Spike is snoring? Or just Spike Z? I don't know. But hi,
It's
either
weird.
way, it's good to see you.
That's fascinating. I never see the ZZZs.
You don't?
It's amazing.
I
I mean,
probably think about it because I type it. Like when I say
mm-mm.
hi to Spike, I type it out.
Yeah, well, I typically do the at symbol and then type the first 2 letters and let it
See,
fill in.
most of the time when I'm on lives, most of the time I am on my phone. So if
Mm,
I don't tag, because most of the time I'm like chatting some, and then I'm just like listening in one ear, and then like doing stuff around the house. And then other times I'm, more plugged in depending on what's going on. So it takes a little longer if you want to use the at symbol, because like on the computer it will just like auto
yeah.
fill it for you, but on the phone it won't.
One of
Oh,
my
she sent a picture. Oh, he's so cute. I don't know if you can see him. Isn't he awesome? Chewy. He's too cute. I love it. Should I make an Ewok or a Jawa next? Ooh, I like Ewoks. I love Ewoks. I know people have strong feelings about Ewoks, though. Ben, what are your feelings on Ewoks?
is it would I be a bad person if I was rooting for the Empire and during that?
No, not really. My husband is the same way, actually. He has this whole, spiel he does about it, about how, like, the Sith are more, like, honest and fair, and how, like, the Jedi just wanna, like, have power, and it's their way or the highway. He has a whole ethos behind it.
I'm mm, yeah, I mean, I think no matter what, I could handle Ewoks,
You can handle
but there's
Ewoks. I
no
know
way on
people
this
don't like
earth
them.
I could ever, in God's name, ever handle freaking Jar Jar Binks. I'm sorry. That is just too much. Bite me.
Yeah.
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 I think that
That's
was.
fair.
Did the
That's
Rat
fair.
already own Star Wars, or was that still George
I don't
Lucas?
think the Rat didn't own it just yet. Like,
Okay.
so the Rat bought it when the most recent reboots started.
Okay.
I don't remember. It was still like Lucasfilms, George Lucas during Phantom Menace episode 1. And I remember very clearly so I saw all the originally released ones first, like A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. I saw all those like at home as a kid, like on VHS. Like my
Yeah.
parents made very sure I got that education, that good solid foundation. So those are the best, right? But Phantom Menace came out when I was like, I don't know, like 12 or 13, I want to say. And I got really excited about it because, I wasn't into as sophisticated stuff. And I think we saw that in the theater like 3 times. As an adult, I go back and watch it and go, oh, that's embarrassing how much I liked this. But Jar Jar Binks was not the draw, though, I will say. Like I enjoyed Ewan McGregor's performance as Obi-Wan. Liam Neeson was a good Qui-Gon Jinn too. Anakin was a little annoying, Jake Lloyd, but I don't know if you've seen anything about Jake Lloyd, the actor, since then. Like his life has been ruined. Like people just like lambasted him and were just like awful to him.
Yeah.
Like he went into hiding or something because people were so mean about him.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. I really loved Rogue One. I thought that was a really good story.
Rogue One was interesting.
It was really fascinating, though, because I don't remember how long ago that was done. But there was one scene where you could see Peter Cushing. Who would he play? Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh yeah.
And he was dead already. It's like, holy crap, we're at that stage now.
AI to make him. Yes. I don't know if Misha's still here, but yeah, it kind of creeped me out a little bit at first. It really did.
When there was that one where they had young Mark Hamill. It was the Mandalorian, whereas young Mark Hamill appears. And granted, you can kind of tell there's a little bit funky going on with his face, but not much. I mean, as you could tell, it was just a slight difference. The model they based him off of was some other dude, so it's like a lot of his facial characteristics weren't the same. But still, that was scary. And it's like, holy hell, now, jeez.
I did enjoy, so in the most recent reboot, I can't remember the title of them, but like the interaction between Daisy Ridley, like her character, and Kylo Ren, like I found that really interesting. Like this whole, like, are they friends? Like, it's clearly enemies, but there's some kind of like weird understanding of each other. Like it was just really, like, it was interesting. I thought they played that really well. It was complex, and I enjoyed that.
There was a
I have to admit, I had a huge crush on Ewan McGregor. That was part of it. Not gonna lie.
there was a really interesting skit on Saturday Night Live. They had a few of them with Kylo, where he's playing like "Bring Your Son to Work," or not "Bring Your Son to Work," but it was like the boss. What was it called? It was based off another series, like Boss. I can't remember. Where basically the boss pretends that he's just a normal worker.
Oh, Undercover Boss.
Undercover Boss. Yeah,
it was Undercover Boss. Like at the Empire.
Yeah, he winds up killing everybody, but yeah, still, it was fascinating. It's actually kind of cool.
That's funny. Mom sent me future photos. Since Mom is in Australia, she's 16 hours ahead, so her photos are from the future. And the future is beautiful. Look at that beautiful blue sky. That looks nice. I want to go hang out there. We were talking about that yesterday, how I want to go see Australia. I want to go see New Zealand. I definitely want to go see Hobbiton. Hobbiton is in New Zealand, right? I think so.
Oh, that's right. They remade it. Yeah.
Alyssa Milano is a good choice for a celebrity crush. No.
I liked her on Charmed.
That was classic. See, we've got another. Yeah, somebody gets it. And he can sing. Who was it? We were talking about that. And my husband said, my only problem with Ewan McGregor is that he's just good at everything. It's not fair to the rest of humanity. Like, you shouldn't be able to act and sing and do all that other stuff. I didn't know that. His brother is a Royal Air Force pilot. I had no idea.
Wow.
That's interesting. This always trips me out. In Australia, it's winter. So it looks very warm and bright and sunny for winter, but it's still winter. Like, that always trips me out for sure. Hobbiton is in New Zealand. Yeah, so that's where I need to go.
Every time I see that name, I try to remember how, because Aaron's pronunciation, I don't know German, but it sounds good.
Macht mir Dockegel?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's like, man, I want to learn that. But it's funny how Mock makes the rounds, and it's like, it's one of those characters that like everybody on YouTube knows.
We all know you, Sophia. You're a legend. Yeah, Moulin Rouge was fun. That was a fun movie. It's fun to sing along. I like they took a lot of modern music and made it musically, but not too much. That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all. That makes sense. We were talking about body language and acting and how it's different. You know, I was thinking about how some actors go so method that they probably get to a point where they're not even really acting anymore. Does that make sense? You know,
Well,
if you trick yourself so much into believing you just are something.
Well, they said that about Val Kilmer when he was in Tombstone.
Is that what he did?
That way about like 30 miles. Yeah, when he was in Tombstone, apparently, oh gosh, the guy who what was his name? Johnny Ringo. The guy who played Johnny Ringo lives in Bisbee now, and he was talking about how people were asking him how Val Kilmer was in that movie. He said, I don't know, I never met him. I only met I can't remember what character he played, but he said that he was so zoned in that he wouldn't even talk to
that's interesting.
He wouldn't even talk to him on friendly terms because like, no, we're enemies because you're Johnny Ringo.
Wow.
And it's like, man, but yeah, apparently even, I mean, he got his start. His first movie was like called Top Secret, just stupid comedy. Apparently in that movie, he kind of aggravated the directors because they know it's a kind of a slapstick, movie.
Did he go all method with slapstick?
Well, yeah, and there's one scene where he's supposed to be singing and putting his head into he's talking about, oh, honey, I can't live without you any longer. And he's singing the song, and all the girls are, oh, and he's like tying a noose around his neck and trying to hang himself. And he's trying to put his head in an oven. And apparently it was that scene or some scene like it where Val Kilmer was asking the directors, and he was really bugging them, like, what's my motivation in this scene? They're like, there is none. Like, no, there's got to be some. What's my motivation to come from? What are we? And it's like, wow.
Well, part of that is his job, right? Part of that is your job as an actor to do your own character study, unless the director has a very specific vision for it too. But that's really funny. He took that so seriously.
Oh, there's body illusion. Oh, good.
Body illusion.
I see her vision is still off, but okay, other than that.
Huzzah, Miss Dragon. Oh gosh, I hope it's much earlier where you are. No, it's probably, yeah, it is. It is because you're over. See, I'm imagining a map of the United States in my head and going like, it's later over here. And the more you go this way, the earlier it is, I think, sort of.
The guy who played Aragorn, apparently he was a method actor. He was so bad he wouldn't
show. Viggo Mortensen.
Outside. He lived outside, and the other actors were complaining about how much he stunk.
How he stunk.
Because he would refuse to, because you see him a lot of times.
He's a ranger. He's dirty.
Yeah.
And then here's Legolas, Orlando Bloom, who's like this bright, shining like elf who probably smells like rose petals and stuff.
For the longest time, I still thought Legolas is a hot chick. No, that's a hot chick. No, dude, that's a guy. No, that's a hot chick.
I think I had a crush on Legolas too, but that's a good bisexual crush. In that movie, he was kind of feminine, right?
Yeah. I had a crush on the drummer
Long, pretty
for
hair.
I had a crush on drummer for Poison for the longest time. No, dude, that's a hot chick. No, that's a dude. No, it's not. It's a hot chick. I'm telling you, the rest of them are dudes. That's a hot chick. No.
Some of the hair, I mean, like they have prettier hair than I do. Mine needs a wash. Up late. We are all up late. Well, I am up late. I figure we should probably wind it down soon. This is usually the time of night people go hang out over at Chow Yun Smut at Cricket's channel. And I usually try not to, if I know somebody I know is going live, I try not to overlap. Sometimes I miss things, sometimes I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, what? Yeah, where am I? I don't know. I
I
know
kept
nothing.
calling her smut for the longest time, and it's like, that doesn't sound right. So now I just call her Chow.
Aw. He did buy one of the stunt women from the movie, the horse she connected with, though. Oh, like he bought the horse for her? Aw, that's really sweet. I heard he bought his horse too, that he rode in the film as
Hmm.
well. I don't remember if that's correct. Thank you, Jason P. That was impressive. We were talking about this, guys. I actually cannot burp, like, very much. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, that's always been a thing. It's not like I'm trying to be so, like, prim and proper or whatever. It just doesn't happen.
Your bod
And
just
I
doesn't
don't
do it.
know. Yeah, it's very strange.
Hmm.
Occasionally, but it's, like, I have to drink soda really fast, and then it's very small.
Hmm.
So, I don't have the skill of burping the ABCs, so I'm
Well,
kinda bummed.
I was going to put a sound of a belch in my intro, and it's like, no, nobody wants. Yeah, it's like I had it perfect. Like nobody wants to hear that. So I just, yeah.
You could record it as a sound effect, and then you could, like, play it, like, for certain things. Like, you hear radio DJs playing certain sound effects for certain things. It could be for that. Another hour? I don't think so. Because she usually goes on 1 AM my time, and it is almost 1 AM my time. I could be wrong, though.
Hmm.
Aw, that's really nice. Apparently, I'm supposed to try Werner's soda. It'll make me burp.
Oh wow, yeah, that.
Alright. This will be my, my goal, I guess. That's a weird goal to have. Maybe my stomach is shaped weird or something. I don't know. What am I looking for? Oh, I was looking to see when Chow Yun Smut's going live, because I don't wanna go, like, overlap. How do you manage, like, sharing YouTube links and stuff like that, Ben? Are you, like, looking on one screen? I do this very high-tech version where I look on here, and then if I wanna share a link that there's not a mod to share, I'll look down at my phone and do it there.
I, yeah, I typically load it up in my second screen.
Yeah. That day that I came on with you and Shannon, I figured out part of what was probably making my connection so terrible is that I
Hmm.
was asking my Chromebook to do too many things. Like, it still had up, like, a bunch of, like, a couple other programs too, and I forgot
Oh
that, like,
yeah.
a Chromebooks aren't made to do that. So I think part of it was the internet, and then part of it was just asking a machine to do something it couldn't do. So
Hmm.
one of these days, I'm gonna have to give in and shell out for an actual
Hmm.
computer, because the place I used to work gave me one, but I had to give it back when I left.
Well, even on this system, which is pretty beefy. I noticed. I think it's something about streaming. Then I don't know how. It's not terribly complex, but who knows? But yeah, I noticed if I have too many programs open, I'll
Yeah.
get I'll get kind of blocky on it.
Yeah.
Um, like earlier, of course, I'm horrible. Yeah, I would have like high intensity games in my taskbar that were just
Oh,
paused and
gotcha.
things like that. And it's like, yeah, it's eating up resources.
Yeah. All of the RAM. I don't have enough RAM in my brain. I remember when I learned what that means. Random access memory.
Mhm.
All of my memory is random though, so
Yeah, yeah. Every time I learn something new, something old goes out too, and that's kind of
Sometimes I
scary.
think that too. It feels that way. But then every now and then, some really, really random thing I thought I had forgotten about will pop into my head. Like something will remind me of it, and I'll go, "Oh, I
Mm,
thought that I had kicked that out. That's interesting. I didn't know that was still in my brain."
mm,
Memory in people's brains is very interesting. Like we like to think that it's all like very like it's like a computer and predictable, but it's really not.
yeah,
Like it's
and that was
like each yeah.
that was the show. I did one show on oh, it was based on one of Andrew Bustamante's. He's an ex-CIA spy, and he was talking mainly to women about how
Mhm.
um, you want to, if you're dating somebody new, you want to make a journal about it because what happens is our memories are so short. We'll typically overlook things, and it's like your short-term memory is only good for 1 to 15 seconds. If you
I
don't
believe that.
assign novelty to something,
Yeah.
your brain will just in like 15 seconds. And that your long-term memory is, not much better if you don't reinforce it. And he was saying
Yeah.
that women typically forget, and he was going into, what, 6% of the population is narcissist, 3% is social sociopath, 1%
Right.
is psychopath. So that's 1 out of 10.
So you wanna
So
figure out who you're dating. Make sure
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
one of
yeah.
those.
Yeah, and he said that what you want to do is because that, a couple of those are masters of presenting really well, but that
Yeah.
they'll eventually screw up. But the thing is, we tend not to notice that, or we won't
Yeah.
remember it long. And he was saying that even some of his agents, what he'd have them do is they wouldn't even keep a journal. He said every time you have an interaction with this person, put a marble in the good jar and a bad jar, and that they would do
Huh.
that. And he said it wasn't long before you'd see a massive balance one way or the other. And yeah, just
Wow.
doing that and that kind of talk. Okay, this person's probably somebody we want to keep an eye on, or this person's like, we can't deal with him. He's not going to turn or do whatever, because they were doing a lot of clandestine stuff. But
I
really
guess the marble
fascinating.
thing helps because it's an objective representation
Yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't rely on your because yeah, if you get like an overall like if somebody puts on this image for you to
mhm,
like see, oh, I know what makes you tick, I know what you like in a person, I know what kind of attention you like, I can put that on for you, but that takes effort and
yeah,
that's like a mask in a way. So eventually, like they're going to have moments even in the beginning where like they slip, like they're tired or
mm,
whatever, or stressed by something else, and they slip. And but
yeah,
if you have already created this, if you're committed to this image of this person, it's like, oh, but they're so amazing and like sophisticated and intelligent and all that stuff. That can't count. That must not count. That
mm,
didn't happen. And so you're like, put it off to the side until I don't know, until, like, later when it's too late and you've,
yeah.
like, sunk a lot of effort and time and emotion into this person.
And he
I
was,
dated somebody like that.
mm, and he was talking about what you want when you're dating. You want time, distance, and I can't remember the third term he used, but basically time, distance, and control, I think is what it was. So what you
Yeah,
do is
yeah.
you something that didn't go down. Um, that what you want to do is you want to have time between dates and you want to have physical distance between you so that you are able to clear your
Mhm,
head. You want the time so you can clear your head. And then what you want to do is then change the date, and just see if they
mm,
flip out. Granted, now there's sometimes he's going to be working or, you know, but
right.
if he gets
See if they lose their
visibly
temper.
angry that you change the date, because a lot of narcissists, they can't handle that because they like to be in control of that. They
Yeah,
want to have you taking control from them, they see as a threat or that they're
yeah.
losing something that you're now above them and their strange screwed up brains.
Hey, Lori Sue, we are still here. Not for much longer, I don't think, but we are for now. Yeah, that is the thing. That at least that's what everything I've read points to is that
Mm,
narcissists have a need for control.
mm,
Um likely because at some formative time in their development, they had no control in a traumatic context. That's where that comes from, is it's a defense mechanism.
And that's interesting to me because everything I learned is kind of more on the, how do I say this? It'd be more like trade school versus formal schooling. So I kind of come at it from a different, but it's fascinating because to me, the academics are just, there's so much there. And it's like, holy hell, there's just so much contained in these books. And it's like, every time I read one, it's like, oh, damn, I need to start over again because I know I'm missing like 3/4 of it.
There's a big, I don't know, there's a little bit of a division that I see on like what you can do as far as like therapy with someone with narcissism or psychopathy. Like there's a lot of people that think you're like, you can't make that person better. Like that there's nothing, you can't do that. There's a lot of people that believe that very strongly. But then I also see CEUs, all the like continuing education courses all the time on like how to help lessen a person's narcissistic defenses and stuff like that. So I don't know, like, but people that are identified narcissists will tell you like, no, you can't change that. Like that's one of the HG tutor things is like, no, you could just learn how to be better at it. So I don't know.
That would be interesting to find out where the truth really lies.
And I haven't decided what I think yet.
And it might depend maybe on the scale too, or where that person falls from, like HD. I think he considers himself ultra versus.
Of course he does. A narcissist would consider themselves the ultra.
and it is interesting that you can see a lot of his behaviors point. I mean, even just what he says, it's like he's trying to instruct you, but still you can see it just leaking and all this.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
Yeah. But I've learned a lot from that channel, actually. Like I found it very helpful.
Yeah, and the way they see everything is fuel, I think is the term he uses.
As what? As veal? Is that fuel. I thought you said veal.
Veal works. or maybe do you consider a burrito a cannoli?
That's a really good question. So when I think of a cannoli, I think of a dessert. When I think of a burrito, I think of like dinner or lunch.
It's
so
a carb.
In that
way,
wrap.
It's a carb wrap
holding something, some kind of filling, kind of in the way you can have a dessert pie or like a non-dessert pie, like a meat pie. Sweet? That's a good question. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually using a dictionary. Cannoli. I'm looking it up in the dictionary. I'm going to the documents. Oh, well, cannoli specifically. Okay. So I think maybe not. Does
it say it has to be sweet?
Because a cannoli, I don't know, at least Wikipedia describes a cannoli as a Sicilian pastry that consists of a fried pastry dough shell filled with sweet creamy filling. And it originates from Sicily in Italy. So that would suggest that it's a very specific thing, that it's not just like a generic like pie.
Unless you can find sweet refried beans.
That's a good point. A burrito is a food item that consists of a tortilla wrapped around it. Well, burrito means little donkey. That's different. I don't know. You know what? This is a deep question. I'm gonna have to ponder this. Ben.
Is pizza toast or is toast pizza? It's carb bottom with stuff on top.
My whole view of the world just shifted. I don't know if I can sleep now, Ben. Yes, sweet liberty.
Nice.
I love that. Well, I think I'm going to wind it down because I do have to get up in the morning eventually. Any last topics or last questions? What did
I
I
got
miss?
nothing.
In Australia, you can have cannoli 2 ways, sweet or savory. Oh, okay.
Mm,
So I'm rethinking this then. I'm rethinking this.
savory cannoli.
I kind of want someone from Sicily's take on this. I feel like that's important. I don't know why. I feel like that because it's specifically a Sicilian pastry. This is a good question. He's here. He's here. He is back. Oh, coming back to this channel? Whenever he wants, really. Like, I mean, whenever I
I
have time to stream and he has time to stream.
I have a show. I have a show scheduled for Chris
Schedule.
and Melinda on on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, my week is still going to be jammed up, so that's being a little restrictive on me. It should lighten up. I'm hoping. Um, I would have liked to have gotten AA on. Um, I'm trying to find a few guests. Um, trying to think of some topics. Other than you know, will this fit up my nose? Other than stuff like that.
That's always a good topic.
But yeah,
Yeah, you
I've
guys,
been
I'll be on Ben's channel on Friday.
um there's been a lot of good shows on YouTube about healing and things like that. Just after the, I'm trying to be as yeah, because they were how to say it, they were site agnostic. They were just
Mm,
talking about healing and because there
yeah.
was a little bit of upheaval and a lot of misunderstanding and yeah. So it was just how to deal with that, which I thought a lot of good broadcasts. Not Blister Crochet. Oh gosh. Oh well, Surviving Together had a good show.
Mhm.
Christie's had a
I have
good
so many
show
shows I
on.
haven't been able to catch live recently. I've been bummed
I
out.
I've been trying to learn astrology just because I find it interesting. It's like don't, but I just find it interesting. How does this work? How
Yeah.
much complex? It's a lot more complex than I thought. It's like holy
Yeah.
crap. There's a lot to this.
Yeah,
It
yeah, it
it
is.
it,
There's a
it
lot more
would
to
be
it
an
than I thought.
interesting way to learn how people personality. I mean, 'cause there's
Mhm.
far more variables in it for people's personality than there is the MMTI,
The
whatever. And
MMPI, yeah.
yeah, because that's really not that complex.
Yeah, so I had I had a class that was a year long that included also a lab as well, where,
Hmm.
like, all I did was learn how to give psychometric stuff like that, like the MMPI, personality assessment inventory, all that kinda
Mm,
stuff, and we can chat about that another time if you want to too, but one of the things that we had to do is we were learning to give it is like, okay, you have to, like, fill in answers and then score it and interpret it, and I just answered it how I would answer it, and I scored it, and so, like, I got to see, like, what my head was at during that time. What was this? This was, like, 2010,
mm,
2011, so, like, where my head was at in my 20s, which was interesting, and
yeah.
so if those are valid and they have a certain degree of validity, then I got a little bit of self-knowledge there that was
Mm.
kinda helpful. But I didn't really put that self-knowledge to good use for, like, another decade, so
Talking about children, little people
Oh,
to
that would be really cool. Chris, Melinda, Blessed Crochet, and Sweet Tea talking about children, little people to
mm,
adults with autism and Asperger's, please. I think that would be really, really great. Like I said, as I said, guys, this was kind of spur of the moment. I was planning to live stream anyway, and I was like, "Hey, Ben, you want to come hang out?" So, and he obliged because he's a cool guy.
yeah,
Well,
I
thank
love.
you.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed this. It was fun to pick your brain a little bit. I would have picked your
Yeah.
nose, but I can't. I can't reach you, so can't pick your nose.
But you called out you figured out which lie I was thinking of. You figured it out. Like, that was really impressive. Like, that was
Oh,
really fun.
it's
That was cool.
yeah. Unfortunately, my accuracy on a screen is horrible, but I'm getting better at it. It's
Well, you
mainly
were
when the ones I
accurate
do
for
in
me.
person.
Well, thank you so much, Ben, for
Thank
being
you.
here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting and riffing with me in the chat. This has been really fun. I hope you come back. I hope
Hey,
that we do this again. This was really fun, just hanging out and
thank you
chatting.
so much. It was so great to hang out with you.
Yeah.
I hope everybody has a awesome, awesome evening. I hope you all learn that a burrito is a cannoli and that pizza is toast. Um, don't be
Pizza is
heathens.
toast. I don't know why. I feel more open to that one, that pizza is
Really?
toast. I don't know why.
I'm just babbling idiocy I saw on
Unless it's deep dish,
Markiplier.
that's a pie. Deep dish is a pie for sure.
You guys all have a great evening. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, mods. Good night. Thank you so much. Thank y'all for participating. Thank y'all for hanging out. Um, y'all have a wonderful evening. See you guys on, I guess, Chow Yun Smut's channel if you go hang out over there. Or if not, hang out on one of the other places we all show up at. So y'all take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thanks for being here. Bye.